Hey everyone, welcome to another episode of the Grappler Union podcast. Javier Palomo alongside Anthony Zito. Our guest today is Rudy Jimenez. Rudy is a second-degree black belt under Carlson Gracie Jr. and is the head instructor of UFC Gym Oak Lawn. Enjoy.
I hate the 6 minutes. That's what happens in that 6 minutes.
You taught me, using any technique that works, never to limit myself to one style. Keep an open mind.
We're not here to take part. We're here to take over.
In order to become more peaceful, in order for you to become better and strategize your life.
All right, we are live.
We are. What an exciting weekend it's been.
It has been an exciting weekend. I was super pumped last night, although I got there a little late, and it was kind of weird because they were mixing up matches, and I was like, wait, is it brown? Is it purple? Did I miss some people?
Yeah, so what we're talking about here is we had Fight to Win in Chicago, well, in Villa Park at the Odeum again. Yeah. I'm so happy because it was on a Saturday, so I got to stay through the whole card. I think the majority of us were able to get there a little bit more on time because, you know, getting there on a Friday night in Chicago traffic is a nightmare, but Saturday wasn't so bad. So, yeah, Fight to Win 111, 111. It was an interesting night of matches.
Oof. Yeah, it was. Rudy, you were there also.
I was.
I didn't see you.
I know.
But there were a lot of big guys there that I was like, holy shit. Did you see a lot of giant guys? You were obviously one of them. But I was like, there's some big guys here. What is going on?
To be fair, it doesn't take that much for you and me to start categorizing somebody as a giant.
You know what's funny is Ryan, he came.
Ryan Sal?
No, you told him.
Yeah.
And so Ryan came over. He said, "Hey, the little guy told me you're going to be on their podcast tomorrow." And I said, "Oh, Javi." I wasn't trying to be rude or anything, but I said, "Oh, Javi." No, the other little guy.
Yeah. I almost don't want to say this because the last thing I really need to do is feed that man's ego. But Paul Maloney is now known amongst some of my friends, apparently, as the big guy from the podcast.
Wow.
Because he towers over us at his normal human male height.
Exactly. Paul's in Ireland right now.
Is he?
He's in Ireland getting married.
Geez, that's a great excuse to visit Ireland, isn't it?
It's fantastic. Cool. Yeah, it's fun.
Very cool.
Well,
sorry I couldn't make the trip.
Yeah, hopefully that all goes well, sir.
Yes, I'm sure it will.
So what you guys think of the fights?
So I'm of mixed emotions. There were some fantastic victories. Mm-hmm. There were some controversial decisions.
Well, let's talk about that Serafin match a little bit more. Jeff, I'm sorry.
This is one I definitely want to review at some point in the future. Okay. Like I'm going to go back personally and look at a couple of fights because my teammates and friends and whatnot, I want to see mistakes and where they could have improved and whatnot.
Okay, well, based off your memory right now, that Serafin match.
So based off my memory, I was BSing with Evan Manuel for a significant portion of the match. So offensively, the things that I saw Jeff do were near sweeps with like the flower sweep. Mm-hmm. Did he get any near submissions?
He went into a Kimura.
Okay.
From the get, he had the Kimura grip locked in, I think.
Okay.
Right?
Right.
From closed guard. Mm-hmm. That's one of his things, right? Mm-hmm. Everyone knows that.
Right.
And then from there, he was working his sweeps. The guy couldn't pass. Pretty much was stalling, I felt. In that position, he felt like he was just on top and just sitting there. And I feel that Jeff was working more to get shit done. And I didn't think that guy was working as hard as Jeff is.
I'd like to review it also because we were just talking about it before we started the podcast, how sometimes at the show you're talking. It's fun. You're seeing all these people at these events, but sometimes you miss something because you're talking to your friends or someone you haven't seen for a long time. Right. So I missed a little bit of the match with Jeff, but from what I saw, I totally agree with what you're saying. Right. I was giving this a lot of thought because even that Aaron Brooks match. Mm-hmm. And again, I like Justin. Mm-hmm. Justin, I trained with him a few years when I was training a little bit at Rio with Pete the Greek and them. So Justin's a cool guy. It's not anything against him. Mm-hmm. But to me, if I'm trying, and I am biased with Aaron. Aaron's part of the Carlson Gracie team, which obviously I'm a part of. Train with Aaron a lot. But if I try to look at it as neutrally as I can, you have a guy that was struggling. He came close to once passing the guard, but Aaron recomposed. Other than that, he just kept slamming. So it's like, what are the judges? I guess it's hard to understand what judges are how they're grading these matches. I understand that sometimes no rules is great, but then I was thinking about that, and at least when there are some rules, you know what to judge by if there's going to be a decision. So it's almost like if there's not going to be no rules, then you almost are looking at it like if there's no clear winner, no submission, it almost should be a tie.
Right.
Well, first of all, I think there are a couple of matches that could be argued might have been a tie last night.
Towards the end of the night, especially. I know. It was brutal.
Oh, man. It was. We'll get back to that maybe. Or won't. So let's so I know Justin, I know Aaron, I like both guys. I'm going to play both sides on this one. So, first of all, I do want to point out we were the assholes in the crowd that were actually chanting with each slam. I think we stopped at 11, but I believe there were more than 11 slams, all from guard.
I was not one of those assholes, but I was in the crowd where they were shouting.
Yeah. You were just discussing how much you don't like to participate in all these things we do. So, jerk. Like I said, I think we stopped at 11 slams. So here's the thing: Fight to Win obviously doesn't score points in any meaningful way. Although each judge, in his own manner, is tallying something in his head to determine which flag gets raised. Slams are legal. Seth, as far as I know, encourages them. He wants to see big throws, big takedowns. He wants to see slams, and all those things are from the perspective of the aggressor. Tilting the scales in your favor.
Right.
Okay. He also wants to see submission attempts from everywhere, and that's whether it's on top, on bottom, in a scramble, from a position of dominant control. Doesn't matter. So, in this instance, if I'm pro Justin on this argument, for sure, picking up and slamming a guy over and over and over again, that's going to sway the judges and be like, he did a lot of work.
Yeah, I know what you're saying.
It wasn't just like Justin is like. Let's be very fair. He looks like a shaved Sasquatch. I mean, like he's a very muscular dude,
very strong guy. Yes,
but okay,
he's lifting a guy up,
but technical. Let's talk. Break the guard. Why is he not breaking the guard?
Well, you've been in Aaron Brooks' guard, haven't you?
No, I have not been in Aaron Brooks'
guard. Oh, you're missing out.
I play guard. I don't go into guard.
I play guard. I don't ever go in other people's guard. I only do like 1/3 of all possible jiu-jitsu.
Exactly. So, no, I'm saying I didn't see him trying to really break the guard. I didn't see him going to break. I see him slamming him, walking, but never trying to even attempt the Carlson Gracie pass, any of those types of passes that we would all see and know, okay, he's trying to break nothing. Never. Not once did he try it. That's what kind of like...
And yet at the end, he did open the guard, get out, almost took Aaron's back.
At the end, yeah.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
So
that would have swayed me for him to win the match.
That's what I'm saying, though. Well, yeah, but you're looking for... You're looking at it from a very, very jiu-jitsu perspective there, and it's not just jiu-jitsu, okay? Like, Seth wants guys that have judo and wrestling credentials to be able to compete as well. Right. So, like, high-amplitude throws, takedowns, things like that. Again, there's no, like, this is worth 2 points, this is worth 4... there's nothing like that. Mm-hmm. But, again, the judges are told to start tallying those things up, look for certain things. So, for sure, as Aaron's working off his back and just maintaining that guard and Justin slamming him over and over and over again, and he's got no answer for it.
Right.
That's going to, I think, sway the judges.
Why didn't Aaron open his guard at all?
Wait, didn't he?
Yeah. Does he not play that at all?
He likes a lot of the closed guard where he can then shoot in for like the triangle and
I saw
arm bars and
that
that type of attacks from there. So he kind of prefers that.
He's not an open guard player at all. Huh? And Wanderlei too. Daniel Wanderlei is also a closed guard player. His
Wanderley's got a really good open guard.
Yeah,
Does he?
he-
I didn't.
Daniel's
I
very
was hoping
versatile.
for him. To,
Oh,
I was
yeah.
hoping to see, but he didn't open his guard against Piscini.
I don't think he wanted to be leg locked.
Is that what it was?
I think Josh was.
And sorry, real quick. And to be clear, Daniel's got very good leg locks himself too, so
Right,
he's
right.
actually fairly comfortable.
well,
there.
that's how that match ended with
Right.
leg locks.
But
Attempt.
let's stay on the Justin
sorry.
Aaron thing
There's
real
so-
quick.
there's so
here.
many to go
There's
to.
so
I
much.
know.
So between the slams and then finally at the end opening up, that scramble to the back and whatnot, I can see why the judges would go with
agree.
Justin. Okay, now Aaron's side of things, Aaron's playing close guard. He initiates with the guard jump.
Yeah.
Okay. There's no points for a guard jump in really any rule
No,
set,
right.
but obviously if you've got active guard work, you could definitely score a lot of points in the judges' minds with submission attempts, and he did. I think it was right off one of the slams actually, but I have to go back and look. I think he got slammed in the mat and like immediately shot in for like an arm bar,
And then
switched it to a triangle,
Right.
And Justin had to defend, and unfortunately, like if I'm pro Aaron, I'm like that was 2 submission attempts right there, but I think the judges probably just looked at it as one submission attempt because it happened so fast, the transition between the two of them. So you can argue that like Aaron's, working off his back, submission attempts are supposed to be the highest scoring thing in fight to win. That should sway the judges there. He was the only one that truly went for a submission. So I can see that. But I think, like I said, the way the judges actually scored it, the aggression with the slams, the near back take at the end.
Yeah,
That's how I. And again, I'd love maybe we can do this at some point in time. I'd love to get one of the judges in and be like, hey,
They're all different though.
right,
Yeah.
but just be
Every time.
without calling them out and being like, why did you score this way? Like, what were you working with? What's your thought process?
Do you know?
on it?
Does Seth tell them like what to look for? Or?
Yeah,
Well, he tells because I've been on Fight to Win, and he tells us,
Right,
this is
the
what we're
fighters
looking
meeting.
for.
Okay.
And it's like we're looking for exactly what Javi said. Basically, we're looking for aggression. We're looking for sub attempts, like go for the win, like fight to win.
Right.
Like it's all right there in the title. Fight to win. If you're not fighting to win, then and I guess they just don't think when you pull guard you're fighting to win. I don't know.
Well,
because
like,
in
again,
Serafin's
like,
case,
if you've got
it didn't really work out.
If you pull guard and you've got aggressive attacks from bottom,
Yeah.
that should be accumulating points.
Should be,
And again, I really got to
But
stop
what are
saying
sweeps?
points.
Are sweeps not?
See, here's the thing. Like, if I sweep a guy and end up on top because it's a full-fledged sweep, I think that counts for something. And
For sure.
Transitioning the conversation here for a second, with Josh and Daniel's fight, I think that was a big deciding factor for them because Daniel got that one sweep off from like De La Riva. And that was like one of the momentum shifts in the match. Didn't ultimately go anywhere, but it was a good solid sweep as a positional reversal. I think the judges looked at that and was like, okay, that was good offense from the guard. Okay.
I mean, I just look at I like seeing jiu-jitsu moves. Like I'm just a fan of like I just want to go back to Serafin because what Serafin did in his match was so like when I saw it, and maybe you guys didn't see it, but I was like, what in the because Garrity was next to me, Matt Garrity, and I was like thinking, how the fuck did he just re-guard? Like I thought he was going to get his guard pass, and he just went to full re-guard.
Yeah.
And I was like, what in the fuck Matrix move was that? And I'm like thinking in my head, I was looking, and then Garrity sat next to me. He was, yeah, did you see that? I'm like, dude, I'm still thinking about how the fuck he just did like a. I don't even went to his. I don't even know. I gotta look at it again because
Right.
that was so.
No, I want to review it because
badass.
I didn't. Even the parts that I saw of some matches. Okay, so a lot of times I'm up in the fighters area by the bleachers there when we're at the Odeum. So I've got like the highest possible best view, and I love sitting up there. But during Jeff's match, I was floor level. Evans to the left of me. People are standing up in front of me constantly,
Yeah.
and I was at an angle where I couldn't actually see the monitor. Because where all the Viana Brothers guys were at, so like I'm like, I can't see shit, and also like I was chatting, so I missed a lot of good stuff, and I know I did. But here's the thing, and I'm not Jeff, I love you. I'm not ragging on Jeff, but like that's a great move. It wouldn't score a damn
It would
thing.
score, it score points, but because to be able to pull that off, to be able to do that regard is such a slick jiu-jitsu move.
Stop.
I like that.
That wouldn't score in any system, though.
I know it wouldn't, but I like that.
Sure,
and I
sure.
like to see jiu-jitsu. I don't like to see people just sit there and not do anything.
One day you'll put together your tournament, the Ultimate Guard Pullers Tournament. Takedowns are not allowed.
None of that shit. Fuck
we score pinning time for keeping someone in closed guard. Guard recoveries are worth 4 points.
Open guard.
See why it's so hard though sometimes to score a no rules tournament is because I mean here we have two people,
everyone's subjective, right? It's all subjective.
You spoke very highly like of the slams and the aggression, and then in one match, and then in the other match you're speaking very highly of the regarding.
Yes.
So it's just it's I think it leaves the criteria too wide open.
It's very wide open. You're right.
Well, Josh Hinger actually wrote. I can't remember if it was just a long Instagram post or I think it was actually an article where he's like, we should actually have a score at Fight to Win because in his mind, most of the judges are keeping score, oftentimes based off of IBJJF scoring criteria,
right.
With the only exception of that being that they're scoring submission attempts because of the way Seth wants it done. They should be scoring submission attempts as kind of like high points instead of just like a near submission is an advantage. No, like a near submission should be
when you say high, like a 10-9 round type thing, you're talking about doing.
So okay,
like a boxing.
To my knowledge, the refs are not told to do this. Okay, so I'm not a ref. We could get one of them on and clarify what they're told and what they think. Like I said, maybe that's something worth doing. But a lot of the guys are looking at it like, okay, that guy's in guard. The other guy passed. He's clearly the aggressor. He's winning right now because he passed. And they're looking at that because, 3 points for passing. Okay. And then, God, he got to the mount and now he's still winning. Okay. So, we're building like this tally of things that a guy's doing in our head. Okay. But then in the IBJJF, submission attempts would only be at best an advantage. Right? Okay. But because Fight to Win is looking for those finishes, they should be scoring mentally higher for the judges. So like I don't know how to explain this exactly, but like if that guy's only offense was like he passed guard, let's say, and the other guy threw up like an armbar attempt, a triangle attempt, tried to take the back for a choke and whatnot and just couldn't finish it, that guy should be way ahead on the judges' scorecards for all those submission attempts, okay, as opposed to in an IBJJF where that guy's going to win because he got a 3-point pass and that guy maybe had 3 advantages, but they ain't worth shit compared to 3 points.
Right.
Okay?
Right.
So like if you approach it from an IBJJF point scoring mentality, you're probably going to lose. Like your style of playing jiu-jitsu may not be adequate versus if you approach it from, I don't want to say a submission only point of view, but like a submission as a primacy point of view, because again, that's what those judges are supposed to be looking for. Is submission's the most important thing. Obviously, we're looking for finishes, right? And then other crowd pleasing activities.
Right. Do you think that with that criteria, I'm just I have no really true opinion on this. I'm just trying to get your opinion on it. But do you think throwing up submissions, just throwing them up, even though you don't got it, and you're just throwing it up there, and you think that's good though? Just like, I'm just gonna throw this, like Aaron, he threw up that. The guy was big, and there's no way he's gonna hold him in that triangle. Guy just powered out of that triangle. Would Aaron have thrown up that triangle when it wasn't fully there yet? Just because he knew in his mind that I got to get this point, because even if I throw it up, I'm going to get something off it. I'm going to go for that leg lock, even though I don't have it all locked in. I'm just going to look like I'm doing, because I'm going to get points for that. That to me bothers me a little bit, because I'm just like, I don't like just throwing things up there. I like to lock it in. I like to get that precise.
First of all, I don't think Aaron just threw it up. Like
I agree.
He was definitely going for
it. I'm just saying.
So yeah, let's be clear on that.
He might have just thrown it up there. I haven't talked to him yet.
Well, okay, we can clarify with him directly. But regardless, I don't think he was just throwing it up. I think he was legitimately like, this is my opportunity. I'm going to finish him. Yeah. Like, Aaron's very, very confident of his triangle. He has
I've gotten triangled by Aaron.
He has a lot.
It sucks.
I don't know. I don't want to say all of his wins in Fight to Win have been triangles, but
A lot of them.
A lot of those wins have been from triangles.
Yeah.
Or even when he didn't get the triangle victory, like sticking a guy in a triangle for friggin' 3 minutes of a 6-minute match.
Right.
You know, like clearly he's dominating there.
Right.
You know, so that's a good viable strategy for him. I don't feel like he was just like throwing it up to try and run up the score. There are situations where guys are very clearly of that mindset, though. Like we probably saw some matches last night where it's like, I'm going to go for a submission in the last couple of seconds because I need to leave a good impression in the judge's mind. I need to accumulate some air quotes points, and sometimes that's going to work out.
Right.
Like, I hate to say it, but you could have like an absolutely fire submission attempt in like the first minute of the match, dominate the whole rest of the match, and then some guy throws up like in the last 30 seconds like this crazy leg lock scramble or something like that. That may leave a better impression in the judge's mind because I don't think anyone's keeping an exact tally. So it's very easy to forget, oh, that guy almost had like an arm lock from guard in the first minute or something like that, because that fresh finish is right in your mind.
Yeah.
So yeah, again, I'm kind of talking out of my ass here because I don't know how each of the individual judges rates things.
Do you think a scoring system like the UFC has, like that, would be so we could see their scorecards?
I was going to say I would like scorecards. Okay, I think that would be a good idea. I know it can be a little hard for some guys to juggle both watching a match and keeping a literal physical tally, but I would like to see a scorecard system. But
what if the tally was simplified? What if the tally had on there? I'm just spitballing here, so forgive me. Let's just say we had a list of all the jiu-jitsu moves, right? So we had like
all the jiu-jitsu.
Well, I'm just saying. Let's break this down. Like arm bar, knee bar, toe hold, all these different types of submissions, and they all have to do is put check mark next to that one submission. At the end of the match, then you see, okay, sweep and this and that, and this way you can see who's more active, like who attempted the sweep, who attempted arm bar.
Stop. What? Are there multiple tally points? Because if like my whole game is omoplatas and I get a guy in 12 omoplatas, but he gets me in an arm bar and a toe hold, is he winning on the scorecard for variety?
I haven't worked this all out. Just thinking about this right now, so I have no idea. But yeah, I see what you're saying for sure. But why not? But if you had the card made out and you just had that list there, and you could just go around that list, hitting that one, knowing you got.
I know all of our judges are actually like higher belts and whatnot, and they know jiu-jitsu. So
for sure.
So like we don't have to worry about it like we do in MMA. But I think that's actually probably complicated, like doing it like that. Like maybe just a checkbox of submission attempts, sweep attempts, takedowns, things like that might be worthwhile.
Or maybe just a simple scorecard that says, Rudy, anything that they like that I do.
I could literally make a 2 column.
If you like the slams from yesterday, hey, one slam.
Right,
Put another check mark next to if he does it again, or whatever.
Yeah.
And then at the end of the match is, hey, Rudy has 6 things on his, and this person has 7, so Rudy lost.
I think a simple tally, you just split it down the center. This guy gets a check mark here. It doesn't have to be for any one particular thing, unless again, and like if we're somehow scoring something higher, like submission attempts, if there was 2 checks on, or something like that. That has to be factored. But yeah, I wouldn't mind some kind of official scoring system. But I don't want the fighters to see it, because then fighters change their reactions based on whether they or not they got points. And that's what I think Seth is trying to avoid.
Well, I think you could eliminate that. If so, let's just say, I'm just throwing this out there again. Sweeps are 1, right? Submission attempts are whatever,
370 points.
Right, exactly. Are 2, right? So, and then guard pass is whatever, 3, whatever. Or
what's guard retention? Come on,
that could be also 3. But whatever.
Matrix like guard recovery. What's that worth to you, sir?
That's the highest.
Would you please go back and watch that match, because it was fucking phenomenal. Jeff Serafin, it was badass.
And again,
I hope people can appreciate that.
I appreciate that. Okay, I absolutely friggin' appreciate that. There's no scoring system in the world that appreciates that.
No, there isn't. That's what sucks.
Like even the gold standard of what jiu-jitsu competition is supposed to be doesn't actually care about guard recovery above and beyond stopping the points for somebody passing.
Well, even like reversals.
Right. Yeah,
I know one of the questions I always get asked for my students is, teach us some reversals. We get in a hard spot, or someone's in side control, someone's got a heavy mount. How do I get out of there? And you work hard to get out of there. And there's I don't think you don't get advantages or anything for that. So
No, so this is actually a common point of confusion, and Riley Bodycomb and I have discussed this a little bit because it's especially brutal for kids. Okay, so the whole of the jiu-jitsu concept of recovering good position, maintaining good position, and working escapes, like that all makes sense. And when you're on bottom and you recover guard, or you're, say, on bottom, like side control, and you roll a guy over and you hit a full reversal, everyone's like, yay, winning. But actually, neither of those things are worth any kind of points. And only when you sweep, which requires some kind of guard entanglement and the use of your legs, basically, are you going to score sweep points in the IBJJF? Right. So, like, I could hit, like, this beautiful, picturesque reversal, like a bridge and roll type escape from side control or something like that. Not worth a damn thing. And I've seen kids where they're like, how did I not score that? And I'm like, it wasn't really a sweep, air quote. Like, I dislike that. Like, if I'm being honest, I really dislike that, because that reversal should be worth something in my mind. But them's the rules, you know. Yeah. And maybe guard recovery should be worth something more than stopping the opponent getting points. But again, no system that I'm aware of scoring wise actually takes that into account.
I mean, it's something that every jiu-jitsu artist does. We all try to retain guard. We all try to not get our guard passed. It's a complicated thing. It's not like it's simple to sit there and hold someone off. I don't believe it's simple. I think there's intricate details in my guard, your guard. Everyone's guard has their own little and we're not. That's like no big deal. It's like whatever, dude. Well, it just seems silly to not count that as anything, especially when you know. When the guy's known for that. I think the view passing his guard. You know.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, how's that not spectacular? You know what I mean?
The view of it, I think, is ultimately that it is kind of its own reward. And if we award, I mean, I was kind of teasing you before, but like seriously, if we're going to reward guard recovery in some way, then is there value in being able to just hold your opponent in close guard? Because most people are going to start arguing that A, this is going to make for some very boring fights,
right?
Okay, and B, let's take the audience engagement out of it for a minute here. Unless we're doing no time limit, okay, it's going to be fairly easy for certain individuals to just stall in closed guard.
For sure, yeah.
So yeah, and I think that's part of the reason why guard recovery isn't worth points in most systems either, because like the guy on top is being the aggressor. He's actively trying to score. The guy on bottom is taking away that scoring opportunity, but ultimately, unless it leads to something, he's just resetting back to neutral.
Yeah.
So, again, you know, and that's not saying that isn't valuable, because obviously it is. Okay. But yeah, like Jeff's game, getting back to Jeff Serafin, that's beautiful jiu-jitsu. Okay. I love what he's able to do. I don't know that it's necessarily, and again, I have to review the match, I don't know that it's necessarily like the best fit for fight to win scoring criteria, maybe
with that rule set, right?
Yeah. Although again, because like
whatever that rule set is,
yeah, right. But again, like he did have sweep attempts, he did have submission attempts, though I apparently missed it. Sorry. So in my mind, that would swing the pendulum in his favor there. Although, again, I don't know how much a sweep attempt is worth in the minds of the judges versus a completed sweep, for example.
Right.
So, yeah.
The guy had a reaction to a submission, like a locked-in submission. The guy has to react to that.
To score the advantage?
Score that. That's like, oh, shit, I got to react. I have to. So a reaction to that sweep where he's got to, like, it's not just me throwing up anything. It's like, fuck, he's got to actually base. He's got to make a movement. I can argue that.
I'm going to say
that guy
no.
was a big dude he was going against. It was obviously no joke. I forgot his guy's name. He's from California. But that dude.
Don
something.
Hoskins or something.
Yeah. But that dude had to make a big adjustment to get that sweep not to go. So
Right,
he
but
definitely had to react. He reacted
did
to that
make the
sweep. So it
adjustment, and
wasn't-
we
it
went back
was
to
a
neutral,
legit-
right?
And then we went back to the
Yeah,
sweep.
I mean,
another sweep attempt.
Listen, man, somebody goes to throw me and I move out of the way and don't get thrown.
Yeah, you're
It's
right.
not worth any points.
Exactly.
Even if somebody takes me down and he can't hold me down, and we're talking IBJJF here.
Right.
He can't hold me down for some control period. It's not worth any points. Like if I, takes me
Bounce
down,
right back.
hip hits, bounce right back up, not scoring anything.
Yeah.
So again, a lot of different systems where we
There
could
is.
score things, and we could get very, very detail oriented here. We have like 500-page rule book on all the ways to score 1 to 12 points. But
So
yeah.
crazy. But anyway, it was a great night. Now they did change the time, right? Now everyone was on 7 minutes. Looked like.
That may have happened a while ago.
Oh, did it? Okay,
I'm not
from
sure.
last fight to when I remember, I thought the black belts were at 10.
So black belt title matches this time around for sure were 10-minute matches.
Yes, they were.
Okay, and then I think other black belt matches were just 6.
Were they?
Or
I
was it
think they
brown
were
belt were
6.
6?
I thought they were 6.
Oh,
Brown
were they
belt were
6?
definitely 6.
Okay.
Okay.
I thought they were 7.
Yeah, it might have been 7 for black. Maybe I missed.
And then they were mixing and matching everything.
That was
right?
the thing.
Yeah,
that was the thing that was screwing with a lot of people.
Really messing me up. I'm like, wait, brown belts already? Oh, then the purple belts are up like 2 matches later. I'm
Right.
like, wait,
Yeah.
Or the kid. They'd mix in the kids.
mix in the kids,
So when
yeah.
I was looking at the names, I for the most part know a lot of, even if I don't know them personally, I've heard of the names. And like, who is Coco something? Turns out it's a little girl.
Little girl, yeah. Who was awesome.
Yeah, she was-
Right. That was. If the other girl came in.
Armbar, triangle, armbar.
Yeah, that was
Crazy.
Wow.
It's always amazing me when I see kids that young and just throwing up, just doing jujitsu. I'm like, God damn, that's impressive.
Yeah, yeah.
It's so good.
That was.
We're gonna see the next couple of years the next round of killers.
Yeah.
We're seeing them right now. They're like 5-6 years old.
Well, these kids are training now from like 3 or 4, and by the time they get 15, 16, 17, that's 15 years of jiu-jitsu.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
We've talked about that before, where it's like, again, let's assume like your average person gets their black belt in 10 years is a pretty common statement. Okay. But if you start at 6, you're getting your blue belt in 10 years.
Yeah, 16.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
And
You're right.
you've very possibly got as much mat time as many adults that in that same span are black belts. So yeah, those are murderous blue belts right there. Murderous.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For sure. Man, that's so crazy. But I wasn't. So the.
Oh.
Well, one thing I didn't like about last night was I paid $3.50 for a bottle of water.
Shut up about your bottle of water.
What in the? I was in line.
Hey, that's the odium. That's the odium's
fine.
pricing. That's not.
That's fine. But
Yeah.
I mean, there's a point where we're all just like, okay, this is getting out of hand now. Come on. Someone was telling me that it was $15 for like a cup of beer.
I don't think
$15?
No,
$15.
I think that was exaggeration.
I don't think it was
but
exaggerated. He said it was $15 for a cup.
Was it a
of
really
beer.
large cup?
Does it matter? How large could it have been for?
I don't know. Listen, there are
it's
people that go to the
crazy.
club and get bottle services, and they're paying a lot more than $15 for
but
those
they're at a-
sparklers and pretty girls.
Yeah, I don't know, man. I saw when I was in line. I'm like, I had some singles. I'm like, oh, let me get $1, $2 out, and the guy goes $3.50. I'm like, what? I got to bring a 20. What is for a bottle of water? Are you kidding me? What is going on here? Holy shit! I couldn't believe it. I was really like, wow, this seems.
Did you get your pretzel?
I did not because they had the shitty pretzels. So I
I'm so
did
upset
not.
about this.
So they switched the pretzels and they kept them. They're shitty. I don't know what the fuck they're serving there, but
All right. So what we've gotten out of this is that we love the time slot for the new fight to win.
Yeah.
We love the day.
sure.
We did or did not love the way the matches were. Are we okay with
The
it and
matches
just
were great.
confused?
The
No,
matches were
I'm
great.
sorry. I said that poorly. That's my fault. Breaking up like the kids and the different belt levels.
That was. It just seemed weird. I didn't
Yeah.
know they were doing that. I thought they
Right,
were
exactly.
Going,
I think
like,
it just caught us off guard.
Yeah.
But it was
I
fine.
knew
It's
about
fine.
it only because I had seen the schedule. I'm like,
But they
oh,
only
I know
did-
that guy.
but
He's a
they-
brown belt and he's like fight 3.
But they only did that with the brown and purples and the kids. They didn't do it. They didn't throw a black.
Right, no,
belt
one-
in
The blacks
once
were
we
at
got-
the end.
once we got to the black belt, it was
I think he made
solid
that
black
announcement.
belts.
The black belts are next, or something like that.
Okay,
he said.
Right.
Okay.
So it was just the surprise factor that really was an issue there.
I mean, it just
we
seemed-
were caught off guard.
Because
Yeah.
I got there late, and I was like, "Wait, we're on Brown already?" I'm like, "Fuck, did Danya go?" Because I didn't see her go. I'm like, "Fuck, did she go already?" I'm asking people what I missed. They're like, no, she didn't go. I'm like, "Oh, okay. Well,
Right.
why is this guy a brown belt is he on stage?"
Yeah, so that caught a lot of people off guard, I think. I don't think I minded it ultimately.
I don't think I mind.
Yeah,
That's fine.
it was actually, I think it was kind of cool to have the kids intermixed like that.
I agree.
Yeah. So yeah, I don't think I object to
Were
that.
there the only 2 kids? Were there kids that?
There was some earlier.
There was some
the
earlier?
first match.
Oh, okay.
I think the first 2 matches or 3 were kids.
Yeah, they definitely.
I got there late as well, though. But
Okay.
I'd have to go back and count it. There was very little no-gi, might I add. Like, it was dominantly gi. I think we had like 4 or 5 no-gi matches in total.
We had,
But that seems to be the trend lately, honestly.
we had that one USA ice skater.
Hasn't John been on the podcast before?
He has. But his outfit was so ridiculous. It was so ridiculous. He looked like team
Just a
USA.
proud American.
what song did he walk into? What was it?
Oh, was it Glory Day? No, shoot. It was
I don't know.
It was some
damn. Yeah, no. We were
some
all
song
having a
that
good
went
time
along with
with
the
it.
outfit.
Yeah.
But,
Yeah.
but no, it was good. I like John.
Somebody called him a member of the luge team.
The luge team.
The United States luge.
That's right. I think Jake said that.
Yeah, I think it was, or bobsled team, or what? Yeah, whatever.
He looked like,
But that submission was.
oh my god,
Yeah.
brutal! Did he break his arm?
broke it.
Yeah.
Have you seen the replay?
I
saw
did
the
not.
replay on Instagram.
Yeah.
I saw it when it happened.
heard them talking about it.
I screamed at the top of my lungs because it's such a relatively rare submission. You know, I'm like,
That's a
mirror
Frank
lock.
Mirror.
Well,
Yeah.
you're correct. I don't know if it's broke, but it's definitely out. So it may
It's
just be
definitely
Dislocated or something, yeah.
or something. Yeah.
Yeah. So I see a lot of guys when they do get stuck in that think that they can fight it better than they can. And what seemed to happen on that one was as he was fighting it, it got straightened out and it looked like it popped in that sequence.
Yeah, it was nasty.
So yeah.
But John tried that earlier in the match and he got out of it.
Yeah.
And then the second time around, he wasn't getting
Yeah,
out.
yeah.
Longer in the match, you're tired.
Got a
John Gooder's
deeper
no
hook.
joke, man.
John's a beast.
Ooh, he's a beast.
Yeah.
I don't know about his outfit though.
Oh, you're still
He's a
ragging on
beast.
that.
He's a beast for sure.
Well, if you're a beast, you can wear that.
That's true. Yeah.
Full
Like,
spats. Daniel Wonderly also full spat.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Listen, you are not allowed to judge anyone's outfit unless you can kick their ass.
Yeah,
Those are the new rules that I've just made up now.
Yeah, no, I can't nothing there.
Yeah. There were, I don't know if I want to say more, but there were felt like there were more injuries on this card than any of the past ones we had.
Yeah, your teammate Donnie.
Yeah, that was a
Brutal.
particularly bad one. I was
Brutal.
backstage with him. So just to explain what happened there, title fight.
Yeah. That guy looked a lot bigger than Donnie.
He's a reasonably jacked dude. Yeah.
I don't know how much was that? What weight?
It's welterweight, I think. So
170.
Yeah, I
That dude
think.
looked big.
Do they have official weight? I've never seen a weight class. Maybe I just missed it.
I think they use.
Well, I mean, they use the names, but
Right, I think
what's
they use
the actual-
UFC weight classes
Oh,
for it.
UFC?
I believe.
Okay.
I believe that's the
I'm
same.
not sure either.
I mean, maybe they just use the same names and they're not the same. But I thought it's the same as UFC. weight
Because welterweight
classes.
for boxing is totally different.
Right. Welterweight means different things in whatever sport we're talking about. But I'm pretty sure it lines up with the UFC weight classes. Again, somebody right now, the Grappling Rewind guys are probably screaming at us the whole time. They're like these.
Yeah. Go listen to their podcast. They'll give you all the details.
With the actual rules and the real breakdown.
The real breakdowns, yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
Our memory sucks.
Yeah, for sure. They're props to them. They do a much better job of that aspect of this than we do. But regardless. So they both made weight. Okay. Donnie got in a tight bicep slicer. Actually, I believe he got bicep sliced twice because his opponent was playing like a deep lasso guard. On the one that ultimately ended the match, gets bicep sliced. Donnie doesn't tap, gets rolled over with the sweep, and his opponent is now in top side control, doing like a shin pin on the arm, and starts working an Americana. Donnie taps. He's laying there. I know he's injured. I initially, because I had a bad angle on it, I was like, "Oh, he got Americana'd."
Yeah. That's what I thought.
But then I'm like, "But it's the wrong arm." Like now that I'm seeing what's going on, so it turns out he broke it. The bicep slicer broke Donnie's forearm like clean through. Both bones, radius and ulna of the forearm. we took him backstage. You know, he's obviously, as the adrenaline's wearing off, because he didn't feel anything when it happened.
Course.
He just knew he couldn't move his arm for some reason, and then he realized. But it took him back there. You know, immensely painful getting his gi off. Had to support the arm because the bones were broken. Huge swelling right here, right on like the forearm mount. So we immediately know like this is really bad. They had a guy from USA Judo as like a sports doctor there. They had paramedic staff and whatnot, and you know, called the ambulance, put him on a stretcher, had to wheel him out, took him to the hospital. You know, and sure enough, you know, forearm broken and broken right through. So bicep slicers, no joke, guys.
No joke.
And then, you know, we had some injuries from PJ, injured a dude. I feel terrible. I just can't remember off the top of my head now who is
toe hold.
Yeah, with the toe hold,
Yeah.
real good toe hold.
Paul Doe got injured in his fight. He
Yes,
tore his labrum.
yes.
He thinks he tore his labrum going for a deep half.
Oh yeah. He was walking around with the ice, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
So,
man, yeah.
I mean,
John
yeah,
Gatta's opponent. So that's
that's a
quite
lot.
few.
It was quite,
But Donnie,
Goran.
what's gonna happen? Because I know Donnie, owns his own business, and he
Yeah, he cuts hair.
right. How's that gonna? It's gonna impact him.
God,
Poor guy, man.
I don't want to speculate too much on air, like
It's
just
his
because I
right
had
hand. It was his right hand.
it's his right hand. To be fair, okay, like I haven't had a chance to talk to him. Okay, but in my mind, yeah, this is a pretty bad situation, and this is one of those things where it's like, you know, like I work a desk job, I have full insurance coverage. You know, I could break just about anything except maybe my neck, and I could still do my job.
Right.
And if for some reason I can't drive to the office, I bring my laptop home and I forward my calls, and I'll be fine. But we got guys out there that are, you know, grinding, doing physical labor, construction jobs, guys that are on their feet all day.
Right.
And it's like, man, the difference between me potentially taking an injury, you know, obviously it sucks, and somebody who, you know, in Donnie's case, works with his hands day in and day out, you know, this is going to be this is going to be a lengthy recovery from the injury. Can't train. No. I don't know what his work situation is going to be like at all. How can you cut hair with one hand? You know, you got to be working those scissors and you know, what, left-handed.
Shave everybody.
Yeah. Right. Like, I mean, I guess that's an option. Maybe you know, necessity is the mother of invention, right? But and I've always thought about that with guys that are in like the different situation. Like we got friends that compete all the time, and they're like construction workers. Like just a slight tweak to your knee is way more dangerous for them than it is for, you know, like I said, somebody like me. I ride a chair for 8 hours, you know.
Right.
So that's always the big risk.
Yeah, it's a big risk.
So what a downer.
They do recovery to all of them.
Absolutely. You know, and for each guy that competed last night, you know, I appreciate you guys putting it all on the line. I was entertained, so you know. But great. You know, I say this all the time, and it makes me probably sound like a sociopath. But like, to do what we do, you have to really, really enjoy hurting people. Yeah. You don't have to like seeing people injured, though.
And you have to tolerate pain yourself.
Yeah. Like it's kind of like a.
I know my mom calls me a masochist. Every time I come over there, I'm bruised, or I'm asking her for, Mom, I'll hang out for a little bit, but give me some ice. Let me put some.
Right. Yeah.
Another bruise, another injury. So yeah, she like, you guys must love pain.
Yeah. I mean, like, every submission attempt you go for is probably. Has the potential to kill someone or break something, and we try not to in training and whatnot. But then all of a sudden, you know, you're up on stage in front of a big crowd, the adrenaline's going, you don't want to lose, and things are definitely going to happen. So, yeah, I wish everyone a speedy recovery.
Yeah,
sure. You know, and it was an overall great show.
Yeah, it was great. Production was awesome as usual.
Man, those lights were incredible. Yeah. Maybe a little too incredible every once in a while when I look the wrong way.
Yeah, don't look directly at them because they will blind you.
Don't go towards the lights, you know. But
it was great. It was a great show, great venue.
pace was good.
Yeah, they just one after another. Like every time I'm like, oh, I got to use the washroom. Nope, there's another fight coming up. All right, I'm going to wait. Because, you know.
Yeah, I want to see this one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So towards the end, the last fights, I didn't stay. Obviously, I left like 2 minutes before the last one ended. I'm like, all right, I just want to beat the traffic out of here.
Yeah.
Well, you who do you think won then?
I saw on Instagram,
you saw online? Okay,
which is
never mind,
bizarre to me. I can't believe he won.
Yeah, well,
Herbert
that's because
Santos.
he kind of pulled out some kind of offense in the last 2 minutes that you missed.
Yeah, I missed, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
That's what did it.
I don't even want to talk about it.
Okay. But Catherine Perret, she won. Her match was pretty exciting.
Yeah, her and Kristen were in some serious leg spaghetti for a while
Kristen
there.
is fucking phenomenal.
Yeah.
I've never seen her compete before. From Brazil to one. I've never seen her compete. She was phenomenal.
I think I saw her years ago at an IBJJF, and she was just
really
mopping
good.
everybody.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, she's really good. We got a lot of good people in Chicago.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, well, that's what the whole purpose of the podcast is for, right? To let people know about that.
I wish I could see a little more. I appreciate, those guys coming in at the end, like Herbert Santos.
That was okay. So,
but I would like to see,
honestly,
I would like to see, I love watching Adam Resnovic fight. He's
Yeah.
phenomenal.
That's what I was thinking. I said, you bring in these big names, and that's cool.
Right.
But maybe have a big name against a Chicago big name. I think that would draw more Chicago interest.
I think we've
Carlos
mostly
Lemos,
done that.
I would like to see
Carlos Lemos, right?
But, I mean,
Man,
we have
let's see
mostly
what
done that in the past. This one was kind of an oddball
But
that.
But there hasn't been.
Right.
I mean, yeah, we have done that in the past. But I mean, I don't know why in this card maybe those guys didn't want to fight. I'm just throwing names out there because that's who I like to see compete.
But
come
look
just
at
a
it.
fan.
So we, I'm not going to be able to name everyone who came in from out of town, but
There's a lot.
So we had Leighton fought Devontae, so that Leighton's a local
Yes.
favorite.
Yeah,
So we had that good man. Catherine fought Kristen, so that was and Catherine's got a good presence here, mind you. But then in the last two or three matches,
the last two.
so we had Earthbirth versus Gutenberg,
Right.
and like. Neither of those guys are from around here, obviously
They're
high
big
level,
jiu-jitsu names, right.
high level names. But then we also had Denise versus I'm embarrassed.
Mateos, Bastos. What's his name?
Yeah. Regardless. Again, we're getting screamed at by the fans. Yes. Sorry, man.
The number 2 and 3 ranked in the world.
Yeah, we just can't be bothered to remember this shit.
Can't remember their names.
I actually do feel quite embarrassed by this, but the brain's just failing me right now. Not enough sleep.
It's all right.
Regardless, so that was a little odd because like when we had Kyle Tea out, he fought Jeff Curran.
Yeah.
Like so we had a local legend versus so like this was just a little unusual in that regard. I don't think it's typically like that, and I don't know that this
or maybe
indicates
those guys
moving,
couldn't fight,
right? Couldn't find a good opponent for him.
Find,
I don't really know.
But yeah, I like watching those. I mean, I haven't seen Carlos Lemos Jr. fight, recently. But I also like to see Luis. I would love to see that guy fight again.
I mean, we occasionally give him shit about that.
Do you?
Yeah. Well, just like that's the thing. Like, I think everyone kind of wants to see their instructor go give it their all.
Yeah.
And the unfortunate thing for the instructor, of course, is you're constantly getting a new crop of students. So even if you were competing constantly 5 years ago, all the new students are like, "Oh yeah, I haven't seen you compete."
Exactly. I mean, I guess because Mineko is always like he's in Brazil competing. He's always competing. So you see, it's like I want to see like Luis compete, Carlos Lemos Jr. compete. Adam. I love watching Adam compete. It's just all those guys. Seraphin obviously still competing.
Right.
But it's just
Yeah, it just gets hard. The more you go on with, you got your school and, you trying to get enrollments and teaching and all these different things. Sometimes traveling either for seminars.
Yeah.
Like Carlson, we hardly don't see Carlson, and, all these schools want him. He's got a big following.
I mean, it is a huge affiliation.
And team is growing huge all over the world. And so, I think we took it for granted for a few years. He didn't travel a lot. We had him here all the time. And now he's traveling a lot, and I mean, good for him. He's worked hard at growing this team, and finally it's really taken off. And so good that it's good for the team for him to be out in some of these places where they previously didn't see him. But definitely we miss him here.
Yeah.
All right.
So how long have you been with Carlson?
So since 96.
Yeah, 96 you were telling me.
96, yeah. So I started my jiu-jitsu training in 96. It's been long.
Which gym did you start at?
Where
man?
at?
So I initially signed up downtown. It was downtown at the time, and we were on River North.
Okay.
We were in the
Right.
Gold's Gym. So I was in college.
That's where is that where Valco is at now? Valco.
Yeah, but I think
same?
it's. I don't know if it's a different building
Okay.
or what. Or I think it's the same location,
think it's
maybe
the
on
same
Orleans.
Yeah, I think is that where Valco is at?
I believe.
It's
Yeah.
like 820 North Orleans or something like that.
Right now, Jay Falco is yelling at us.
But yeah, just signed up. I was at NIU at the time, going to school. So I would
What
only.
got you interested in it? Because 96, that's a...
So yeah, weird story. So younger, I played football. I used to lift weights. I wasn't fat like I am, or at least not as fat probably. So I was in shape. So no one messed with me.
Yeah.
And then one day at Crowbar, this guy that's bigger than me.
Wait, you were at Crowbar?
Oh, now you're talking Zito's language.
Man, I remember those days.
Crowbar, this drunk guy that was bigger than me.
Yeah.
He's drunk. He starts a fight. Well, I mean, it never really got into a fight. For some reason, I've always been good at defense. So I just grabbed his arms. He had like a long sleeve shirt, and I grabbed, and he couldn't punch me. But we're like standing grappling, like knocking tables. So they had the tall, circular tables.
Sure.
We're knocking all of those. People are yelling. They call the cops, but I wouldn't let go of his arms.
Yeah.
But after that, I realized I don't know how to. I'm big, but I don't know how to fight.
Yeah.
Right.
So then that's shortly after that I started looking into training somewhere. It turns out one of my good friends, Gary, who doesn't train anymore, but he got me into Hapkido. So I started with Hapkido for 6 months.
Right.
And I liked it, but then that's when the UFCs came out. So this was like 94. So the UFCs were already out, but I didn't even know about the UFC.
Right. Yeah.
So he
I mean,
told me, like,
early days, a lot of us
No,
didn't.
no one did.
yeah. So he told me, like, you got to check these fights out. I'm like, what are you talking about? So he showed me, I think the first 3 had happened already, and the 4th one was about to happen.
Probably.
So funny story is ironic, actually. I was rooting against Hoyts because obviously I'm a big guy. I'm like, how can these big guys not smash this guy? So I was rooting against
This is
them.
so opposite of our experience.
But that's what made me start liking it. So then I went to Duggerberg a little bit because that's the only place that I knew of,
Right.
that did anything similar. And it was just a Saturday class. We used to grapple on rugs,
Right.
sweaty rugs. Our class was like at 3:00 on a Saturday.
This is the big Degerberg Academy, right?
on,
back in the day.
it's like
Okay,
right
yeah.
off of Western.
Yeah.
Western and like Lawrence.
Man, that was sorry, that was a great school. The multi-level, yeah. Oh man, a lot of memories there.
Yeah. So our class, I think, was at 2 or 3 o'clock. I don't remember. It was an hour long. It was only Saturdays, and so all these classes happen all day. And this is on a rug.
Mm-hmm.
So this rug, by the time we got on there, and not only is it a rug where you're getting rug burn, but it's drenched in sweat from all training all day. And that's what it was. And we still liked it. We enjoyed it. Yeah. So I kept going there. And then finally, that's when I found out that the Carlson Gracie had their team. So then I enrolled there. Again, I only did 3 months, and then I went away to school. So I would the first couple of years were only while I was here.
Yeah.
And then when I was out there, we found a group of guys, and we would train a little bit, different arts, and everybody would show something what they knew. So it was a different, fun time. When jiu-jitsu first started here in Chicago.
Yeah. Man, that's so incredible. It's so crazy to think how long it's been.
Yeah.
Yes,
Jeez,
yes, it has.
2019.
Yeah.
Feeling old there?
Feeling old. Feeling
Yeah.
it.
Well, it's a Sunday.
Yeah. So you took some time. So you've been in and out, but when did you start
So
getting serious?
once I graduated from NIU in '98, and then that's when I started working out. Then, and I got a job in HR and human resources out in Glendale Heights. So I always lived in the city or near the city, but I worked out there. So instead of
Did you go to the Bloomingdale
yes,
school?
Yeah.
Oh
with
my
Jeff
God.
Neal. Did you go there?
Well, yes, no. Carry on. I'll add something.
So it turns out I worked only not even a mile from there. So I ended up going there, and I trained mainly with Jeff Neal. And the weekends, I would go to, obviously living out here, on Saturdays, I would go to the downtown school.
Right.
By then, it had moved to the FFC, where it was for a long time. But yeah, so I would go there Saturdays, but during the week, I was out in Bloomingdale.
Jesus. Oh, flashback there. So I know I've told this story on the podcast before, so I don't want to get into it too much. But yeah, my first ever experience to Gracie Jiu-Jitsu was like this massive group seminar at this martial arts extravaganza that like Superfoot Bill Wallace and all these famous martial artists were at, and I had no idea really who any Gracie other than Hoist was. So the fact that like Carlson Gracie was teaching a seminar was of no interest to me.
Right.
Though I did sit in, and if I remember to this day, I believe the only thing we were taught was like the basic scissor sweep from guard, and even then I was like, this is cool. But it wasn't enough to get me into jiu-jitsu. Right. Okay. And then my buddy was super interested in jiu-jitsu. We were trying to reinvent the wheel in his basement, watching UFC tapes and whatnot. And but he couldn't. And mind you, we're pretty young at this point. We're like 16 to 18 years old. We're not gonna drive downtown to go learn jiu-jitsu. It just seems like an impossibly difficult journey when like you're barely driving. But regardless, so I was going to Stratford Square Mall one day, and I drive by, and I'm like, there's a sign for, I think the sign on, because it was Bloomingdale Martial Arts, but I think the sign back then just said martial arts, right?
Martial arts, right.
But they had the big, super well-known bulldogs in the window,
right.
and so like I'm like, oh, that's what Jeff's looking for. So my friend was named Jeff as well. So when I got home, because I didn't have a cell phone, yeah, there was a time before cell phones, kids. I called my buddy up, and I'm like, Jeff, you'll never believe it. I found a Carlson Gracie school. He's like, where? I'm like, Bloomingdale. Like, that's not far from Bensonville. Like you should go there. And sure enough, he did. And then I was super into like Filipino stick and knife, and he found out that they had a class there taught by Tim Murray that was all stick stuff. So like he goes there for jiu-jitsu. He's like, Hob, you have to come. This place is amazing. They have like stick and knife, the exact thing you were looking for. I'm like, cool, I'm there. And my first I took like a first lesson free introductory class to jiu-jitsu with Jeff Neal.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, and I had no idea who Junior was, but he stopped in all the time back then. And eventually somebody told me, it's like, yeah, that's Carlson Gracie Jr. Yeah. I'm like, wait, like Hoist? And they're like, no, this gets very complicated, kid.
It's so crazy complicated.
What year was that? Do you remember?
I started there in '97, I believe. Yeah, if memory serves. So yeah, and was there for a number of years. My instructor eventually moved his school out to St. Charles. Okay, but yeah. What was the owner's name? Mike Figueroa, right?
Mike's. I don't remember his last name.
I think it was Figueroa. I could be wrong.
No, it's Italian.
No. Damn it!
I know.
Yeah, it was Mike. Mike and Jeff and Junior. Like I said, was there all the time back in the day. So that was my personal first real exposure to jiu-jitsu was back then. Still didn't stick me. It was years later.
Yeah. Yeah, so it was different. It was
small world, man.
Yeah.
Well, jiu-jitsu community is kind of small.
Yeah, but like it's grown much.
Yeah. I mean, back then it was rare. I mean, it was really the only two schools.
Right.
Jeff's and at least that I knew of.
No, I mean,
and then there was some grappling, more like no-gi. Again, they had the one at Degaberg.
Well, there's a lot, like even like PFS, Progressive Fighting Systems. Like we were doing jiu-jitsu in 94, 95, right. But that was
based predominantly on
we were doing Jeet Kune Do, and then we had ground fighting jiu-jitsu.
With this guy in a gi has proven that we need to do this, so now we're doing this.
Right, that's basically what it was. Yeah,
yeah, and I mean, to be fair, there was a lot of situations like that back in the day. I know people kind of think it's preposterous these days because there's so much more talent now, but like to see a blue belt.
Yeah, exactly. I was just going to say that.
That guy was probably in charge of a class,
Right.
maybe at a local karate studio or at a YMCA or something like that. Like, that guy knew his shit because he had a blue belt.
Right.
Again, probably sounds preposterous to people that started much later in life, but in the early days,
it was rare.
Yeah,
I remember going to classes where we only had. I mean, we had maybe one no brown belts, maybe one purple, maybe 5 blues, and everybody like 60 whites or whatever. Right. Everybody was white.
So when I started off, I thought the belt progression was white, blue, black, and I thought the black belt was just like I thought it was. White belts don't know shit. Blue belts are everyone else, and black belt was just the instructor. Like, that was your honorary belt rank for instructor. Sense. I had never seen a brown belt. I didn't know they exist. I found out about purple belts like truly by random. It's funny too because I think Mineko was already in Chicago as a purple belt, but I had never seen him, so I didn't know. Just like timing wise. So like we had purple belts in Chicago.
Right.
I just
Jeff Neal. I think when I first met Jeff Neal, he was a purple belt.
When I first met Jeff, he was still a blue.
I met them all as
there was no stripes back then either. So
I never
it was
received
a very
a stripe
faded
in my
blue.
life. Never received a stripe in my life.
Really?
No,
never.
There you go.
Not even at black.
Well, now they're called degrees, I guess.
Yeah.
Oh, that's right.
So yeah, I'm a second degree now, but yeah, throughout the blue and white and brown, purple, nothing,
Right.
no stripes.
Yeah, I don't remember when stripes became a thing. But
it probably became more when it got more commercialized for showing some type of progression to keep students in the gym. I could imagine that.
And it's not a bad thing.
No, I'm not opposed to it. Doesn't matter to me either way.
HR manager in me likes the feedback and let you know how you're doing.
Yeah.
So I don't mind that. I think that's cool.
I don't mind it. I also don't make a big deal about it.
Right.
Like, cool, I got a stripe. Yeah. Whatever. It's
the only thing I dislike about it is when a student, let's say they get a stripe, then they're assuming next belt promotion they're going to get. Don't assume it because,
right.
You're graded by the instructor's criteria, which obviously includes a lot of things.
Right.
Whether he competes, whether he's coming to class, whether he's training hard, attitude, all those factors. And so that's where I think it can be a little bit of an issue when they're expecting it. So now they don't get it, and now they're disappointed or upset or, whatnot.
I think, and maybe I'm wrong about this, I think it's a really, really good system for children. Okay?
Yes.
I think the stripes become very motivational. The larger variety of belts is really good for kids. I know some people don't like that very much, and like they feel like it's watering things down or something. But I think for kids, that's really, really important stuff. And then I think for your average lower belt, stripes at like white and blue are really, really important. By the time you're a purple belt, we've probably got our hooks in you. Mm-hmm. And it probably doesn't matter as much.
Right.
Although significantly for me, after I've just basically said I don't care about stripes, like the first stripe I ever got was significant because it was from Luis and Tiago, and it was an indication that like they saw my progress and whatnot. And then I was just like, oh, okay, cool.
Congrats on the brown belt.
Yeah, speaking of progress, I was thinking the same thing.
This is going to confuse so many people.
Yeah. So Javi is currently a brown belt under Luis and Tiago, and now is also a brown belt in no-gi for 10th Planet Chicago.
Right, under Josh.
Under Josh Piscini. Yeah, congrats.
Thank you. Thank you.
Finally.
And like I said, I feel I need to say just a little something on this because I know it definitely confused people. And in fact, as I was typing up like the little Instagram post, I deliberately didn't try to draw too much attention to it, like to the fact that I had gotten promoted. I wanted to draw more attention to the fact that like a whole bunch of us, all got promoted together, and it was an awesome experience. And for me, I always compete at whatever my highest belt rank is. Okay. So when I got my brown belt, I've consistently obviously competed as a brown belt, but I've continued to work on my no-gi 10th Planet Jiu-Jitsu while working on my mix of gi and no gi jiu-jitsu through LCCT. I see them as very separate but equal paths. And like, there's just a lot of things that there's obviously a lot of gi techniques that aren't taught at 10th Planet because there's no gi. Okay, like let's be very clear there. You're not going to learn collar chokes going to 10th Planet. But at the same time, in most conventional jiu-jitsu schools, you're not going to be learning twisters and leg locks, especially
although now it's becoming more and more.
More so, yeah. And this podcast, this section of the podcast may not age well. People will be like, "What are you talking about? You don't learn heel hooks in the gi?" Because, like, for sure, like at Team Redzovic, Barry's school, we actually do heel hooks in the gi pretty regularly. Other people's schools, that happens as well too. But in many cases, guys that cling more towards the IBJJF rule system, say soul fighters, you're not throwing heel hooks in even no gi, right?
No heel hooks.
Right.
Period.
0 of the heel hooks.
Knee bars, toe holds, all those corkscrews.
Twisters. Neck cranks.
I mean, Andre twisted me once.
That's awesome.
and then this is no-gi, and then got up and said, after I tapped, he got up, he's laughing, he goes, "Now you can never do that to me." I'm like, I would never even think about it. What are you talking about? First of all, I could never even get you there, but I thought it was hilarious that he actually did it to me.
I think I remember you saying that, yeah. But yeah, so like I said, I don't predict any point in time where things are going to truly diverge within the IBJJF. Though I would personally be interested if they change their rules for no gi. At least we've discussed that before. Yeah. But yeah, so I see them as very separate. But like I said, equal paths.
Yeah, but now you're just so people listening can understand, your path is completely different than a normal path because you chose to train at 10th Planet Chicago while training at other places. You really didn't have one instructor, like main instructor. Most people who would say if I wanted to go train now at 10th Planet Chicago, I wouldn't go in as a white belt and then have to work my way up through the system.
Right.
I'd go in as a purple belt and then work my way through the system.
Right. Well, yeah, I had a very weird path.
So if someone wanted to go try out a 10th Planet school and they're currently a purple or brown belt, you're not going to get demoted to a white belt in 10th Planet system.
Sorry. So Eddie did have like kind of a system in place where if you transferred in or were cross-training, obviously we're going to respect your rank.
Sure.
If you transferred into the system as, say, a brown belt or something like that, that would be respected. If you transferred into a black belt, you had to wear a brown belt until you proved that you knew the core 10th Planet techniques, right. At which point your black belt would be honored as well.
Right.
So that was the only thing. White to brown, direct transfers over. When I started wearing the gi, I was actually very nervous about it because, I didn't want to look like a sandbagger because I had years of no gi experience from catch wrestling, and I was also I was already a brown belt in judo. So first time I ever showed up for Adam Redzovic, poor guy. First time I ever showed up for a jiu-jitsu seminar with some of my friends. I'm like, hey, I showed up in a judo gi, and I'm like, I don't have any jiu-jitsu rank, so I brought a white belt. And they're like, that's fine, But then Adam looks at me, has no idea. He's like, oh, this guy's a white belt. I've never seen him before in my life. He's like, here, come roll and try to pass my guard. And I'm like, whoop! And he's like, what the? And it went from this guy's just a white belt to okay, I have to be, so yeah. That was probably a weird experience for a lot of people early on in my career.
Yeah.
But yeah, when I started at 10th Planet, I started as a white belt, worked my way up to purple belt. Started training the gi seriously with Luis and Tiago at purple belt, and then was promoted to brown belt in the gi, and recently was promoted to brown belt officially in 10th Planet. And I've always liked to be very clear that on the official records, even though everyone always honored my brown belt and treated me as such, on the official records, my rank would only have read purple up until that moment. Okay. And I felt that was important. And I also, I wanted to show that following both paths.
Yeah, but when you compete in IBJJF,
when I compete, it's always
brown.
as a brown belt. Right. It will always be at whatever the highest.
You don't want to be a sandbagger.
No, exactly that. I mean,
Although some people might think you're sandbagging now. I don't know.
Hey, don't
word on the street.
even-
I don't know. Word on the street.
Hey, if they're gonna honor my judo or jiu-jitsu, Japanese jiu-jitsu black belts, I'll gladly complete any black belt.
Do you have a black belt?
I have a black belt in judo. I have a black belt in two
He's
different
been
systems.
grappling
of
like
Japanese
20
jiu-jitsu.
something years. I mean, it's so. He's so frustrating.
But I still
so
have
frustrating.
But I still have so much to learn too.
Don't we all? But
Yeah.
Okay. All right. I'm not going down that path. Paul and I talk extensively about this.
Talking behind my back?
Yes,
Bastards.
behind your back. Always good about you, and we're so frustrated. It's so frustrating for us that we talk about you. Anyway.
Yeah. Anyhow, enough about me.
Did you guys watch the fights yesterday at UFC?
No, I was so busy at Fight to Win.
I
didn't-
caught up on them.
I caught a
There's
couple
some
of
good.
highlights, which seems to be like my running tagline
It's
these
fine.
days.
Yeah, you don't have to watch all. I mean, the highlights are good.
Yeah,
Cerrone's fight, Donald Cerrone's he's a master.
That
He's
was-
so fucking good.
Yeah.
How do you win?
Decision.
Yeah, it was
decision.
decision, but like that front kick where he almost knocked Al's head off. That
He
was
did like
amazing.
Anderson Silva front kick.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Is that what we're calling it?
I mean, that's what I would call it.
Sure.
Anderson Silva front kick.
Yeah. Well,
Lyoto Machida.
the kind of cool thing
Front
about
kick.
that one, again, just caught the highlight of this. So like, they're squaring up and whatnot, and he kind of threw what looked to me like a teep right at the chest. And Al kind of like shrugged it off and whatnot. And I think Al thought he was going to try to teep him again, and instead he like front snap kick right to the head.
yeah.
Wham!
Yeah, that was beautiful.
It was
But his overall, I mean, Cerrone's looked so good in the last few fights. It's
No,
just
it's
so. I mean,
one
it's incredible.
One of my favorites.
Yeah, he's definitely a good guy to watch. And he called out Conor McGregor again. I mean, he didn't call him out, but he's like, "Hey, I'd like to fight. Let's."
I
let's
too
do
would
this."
like that payday.
Yeah,
I'll take that. I'll take that beating.
Cerrone's surpassed Bisping in wins.
Wins.
So he's the
Oh, his current win streak?
Current wins. Oh no, just wins. Like
Just total
Overall wins.
20,
Okay.
I think he's at 21 wins in the UFC.
Jesus. That's a lot of fun. I mean,
so
he also
crazy.
takes like 3 fights a year when a
Yeah.
lot of other guys only take 1 or 2.
One or two, right?
He's
Yeah.
He deserves a good payday, man. Really does.
There was also, speaking of highlights, there was a sweet Gogo Plata the other night at Bellator.
I didn't.
Oh,
see
really?
that.
I didn't see it.
Yeah. So I'm scrolling through MMA highlights and I saw that. I did actually, again, terrible fan, I guess, but it's so hard to keep track of all the
Yeah,
events
sorry.
now. So I think it was literally last night, I think in the UK, but it was at least a UK fighter. Regardless, real crazy back and forth scramble. Guy locks up like a rubber guard, pulls it over, clinches the head, just savage Gogo Plata.
Wow.
I love Gogo Plata so much.
Yeah.
Omoplata, Gogo Plata, Monoplata. Yeah, all the platas. Yeah.
Oh man, what'd you call that one last night? Almost Plata.
The almost plata. Yeah, that's when you're going for an omoplata, but you don't quite get it.
You get points for that, though.
You do,
There
right?
you go.
Yeah, that was funny. Oh man, are you guys watching? Last night. I wore my Cobra Kai shirt.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and I was walking.
I'm shocked that we didn't manage to talk about the show. You all the way through season 2.
I'm on episode 10.
Okay, well, watch
Middle of episode
the
10.
spoilers.
No, I'm not going to watch it. I'm on middle. I was watching it before you guys came here today, and yeah, it's so good and so bad at the same time. I can't explain that, but
No. Okay, hold on. The writing is excellent, and it totally feels, even though it's set in modern day, it totally feels like we're watching like the greatest 80s movie of all time.
it's oh my god! I just how they weave in like stuff from stories from the past and bring it to the. It's just it's really clever.
So here's something. So, Netflix. This is on Netflix Red.
Yeah,
You can only watch it if you have a subscription. Which is like,
$11.99,
I was going to say it's like.
which I'll end of this month.
Oh, you turn it off?
Yeah.
Well, you might turn it off sooner because I saw an article that they've renewed it for another season or possibly multiple seasons. But regardless, definitely we're getting a season 3. And going forward, all the seasons are going to be free on YouTube. So you don't even need the subscription
Oh,
anymore.
sweet.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
So, yeah.
I wonder why they did that. Because people were probably buying and canceling, or
No,
they don't need it?
I
like
think
fuck it, we don't need that $11.99 a month.
I think they're probably I think they're probably willing to take the hit on that to draw people in and be like, hey, YouTube's got some good content. It's worth it to subscribe. So they'll show off like one of their premier products for free. Get them in the door.
I think that's the only thing I've ever.
That you've ever watched? Man, there's a bunch of other shows that I don't watch any of them. Nothing is as great as the appeal of Karate Kid. Come on, man.
This is also true.
Karate Kid got me into the martial arts.
Did it really?
Oh, 100%. Not very well, but yeah.
But yeah, I wish they would do I wish there could be something like that for jiu-jitsu though, because the martial arts they're doing in the Karate Kid is so ridiculous and so unrealistic that it's hard.
Well, I never watched it, but wasn't there a movie Red Belt? Years ago.
That's a weird one. It's very so.
I don't think I've ever seen that, but I think I heard of it.
It's an interesting movie. It's not a bad movie. Okay. There are some bad moments in it. It has one of my favorite bad ideas ever. Okay.
What is it?
I'll get to that in a moment.
Okay.
But yeah, so crazy thing is, so Red Belt, it's based on the idea that this guy is learning Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. There's only, in this world, there's only one Red Belt master. And he has to hand off his red belt to the next generation. And this guy is being groomed to be that. Interestingly enough, if I remember correctly, I hope I'm not screwing this up, his red belt master is played by Danny Nosanto.
Ooh.
Oh, really?
Yeah, there you go. Wow. Look at that.
I'm going to have to watch this now.
So now here's the thing. If you're looking for like jiu-jitsu, this is going to be like a blend of like Brazilian jiu-jitsu and like Aikido, Japanese jiu-jitsu type stuff. Okay. It's kind of almost like an MMA-esque movie. It's not going to be like it's not going to be like a realistic representation of what Brazilian jiu-jitsu is like in the real world. Okay. But one of the bizarre rules that they have at this guy's, exclusive dojo and whatnot is like if you get submitted, and this works into like the tournament and whatnot, but like if you get submitted like by say an arm bar, okay, they tie up your arm like underneath so you can't use it anymore, and you keep on fighting. Ooh. And if I remember correctly, like the submission system or the win condition is like it's like best 2 out of 3 or something. So like you get arm barred, you get submitted, okay, it's not over. No. They disable your arm, you go back in there. You might be able to win it with one arm. Can you win a fight one arm? And the whole idea is like if you were in an actual fight and your arm got broken or chopped off from a sword in ancient times or whatever, how would you manage it? Well, they actually train. Yeah. And
so what happens if you get choked, though?
Well, you die. I mean, clearly. I don't remember. To be fair, I don't remember if that actually addressed in there or not. If like choke is an instant win. So I was kind of softly enamored with this concept at one time. And my buddy Riley Bodycomb is always trying to come up with new rules variations for in-house tournaments and whatnot. And we were talking, and I'm like, hey, why don't we do that? And he's like, because we were talking about maybe having a system where just because you get submitted, it's not necessarily over. And mind you, we decided against it because of the fear that guys would like go extra hard in the hope of like, I know it sounds like a terrible dick thing, but like in the hope of basically disabling the guy so he couldn't continue. And I'm like, why risk that? No, the submission is the submission. And we were basically saying like, okay, if you get tapped by an arm bar, that's worth X number of points. We reset and start standing again. But if you get tapped by a choke, it's just over because you would have died. Okay, so like the way to win was to earn a certain number of points, or to win by a strangle. Okay, so when he came up with this, I'm like, oh, we could do the thing from Red Belt where like if you get like your arm is the submission, you tie up your arm. If your leg is the submission, tie up the leg. Think how difficult it would be to like win with that. And he's like, yeah, but also think about like if somebody threw you and you had to like break your fall or something and you can't because your damn arm is tied to, like this sounds like an accident waiting to happen. And I'm like, you right. Yeah, like there's so many like bizarre artistic choices they make. Like they have like this bowl of white and black pebbles or something like that, and like you choose blindly, and that like determines some factor of how the match is going to go. Yeah, like there's all this stuff that has absolutely nothing.
This movie now.
Yeah, it has absolutely nothing to do with like the way Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu is practiced anywhere. But it's an interesting movie.
So did you hear that something's coming out for Jiu-Jitsu, like Karate Kid?
So there's yes. Yes,
okay.
there's a series in the works right now based off a comic book called Jiu-Jitsu. And I'm going to end it there and let people Google it so that I don't mangle it, but aliens are involved. Amongst other things, there's other stuff in the works that I've heard about. I'm still super excited for Drysdale's documentary, which simply cannot come soon enough.
Yeah, Closed Guard.
Yeah.
When is that coming, man?
Soon.
I don't follow.
Trademarked soon.
Is that what it says, sir?
Well, there've been some production delays and whatnot, but yeah.
Normally is.
Well, it's hard to keep a schedule in Hollywood.
But it's just like, because I was at my mother's house a few days ago, and my nephews were watching, like, they have those kids' television shows, and they're watching some kind of karate, like kids doing karate, and it's like,
and they were super excited about it, and you're like, just want to shit all over them. You're just like, this is bullshit.
I'm like, what are you guys watching? I'm like,
I think I ruined the movies for like my family. You see a fight scene, I'm like, they don't know how to fight. And everybody's like,
so
shut up.
You shut up, I'm enjoying myself.
It's so hard. It's so hard to watch because it's so not how
Well, I would
it
do
works.
this. Well, I would do that.
Yeah.
Why doesn't he do this? He's got an arm there.
Every once in a while, you're going to run into a movie, though, where like John Wick draws an immense amount of stuff from actual, actual jiu-jitsu, sambo, and judo technique. Although, again, still like crazy over the top. Mm-hmm. So I think John Wick strikes that real interesting balance of, if you know what you're looking at, you appreciate it because you can see that's like really, really good technique. And if you don't, it's still so fantastic that you just be like, oh, it's like a ballet of violence.
Well, it's so interesting that they're still making movies the same way they were making movies back in the day when the UFC wasn't around. Now we have the UFC around.
So you want everything to look like UFC?
No, I'm not saying, but we know it's real. Now people can watch UFC and be like, well, fuck, yeah. When someone just hits someone in the face, they don't just fall down.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, there's like a back and forth. Yeah. Rarely do you see that just one punch knockout. It's not as when people are just exchanging.
Right.
Do you or do you not want to have a fantasy world where when you roundhouse kick somebody, they do a butterfly twist in the air, fall to the ground, breaking the board to the ground,
and they still get up.
Yeah. Sometimes depends. If they have a name, they might get up. If they're just a thug, they're probably down for the count.
Yeah. I don't know, man. I go back and forth because I'm sometimes entertained by that, but then in the back of my mind it creeps up saying, what the fuck? Can you go do some work or do something other than watch this ridiculous shit?
So okay, one, I'm almost always entertained by it so long as it's good. Like if it's bad choreography, terrible camera work, I'm gonna be pissed. Okay, but I am kind of a snob about it still sometimes because, like, here's a perfect example. Black Panther. Did you see the movie or not?
No.
Okay, so Black Panther has a
superhero one, right?
Yeah, it's a superhero movie.
I turned off halfway through.
Shut the hell up.
Sorry, I couldn't deal with it.
Okay, so Black Panther has an interesting fight scene in the beginning, and it's a lot of like quasi, karate style, like some spinning kicks and bounce around and shit. And I think there was a bear hug attempt where he's like, you're breaking my back. Wait,
is that the scene where they're
the waterfall fight?
The waterfall fight, where they drained his power.
Yeah,
they took his power away from him so he could fight.
So it'd be a fair fight.
Yeah, okay. Yeah. That's I think where I exited.
That's the moment you cut out.
I'm
Jesus.
done. I'm like, where you're draining his power. Okay, I'm good. I'm out.
Why would you let him drain your power?
I don't know.
Or he didn't have a choice.
No. Oh, okay,
it's
sorry.
all ridiculous.
Shut the hell up! Highest grossing film ever.
Is it really?
Not Black Panther. Sorry. Avengers Endgame is like on track to
I have no idea what that is.
I don't.
Of course you don't.
I don't watch them either.
I know what Avengers is, but I don't know what Endgame means.
It's the
last movie,
Avengers
right?
Infinity War was part one essentially of a massive 2-part story arc.
Okay. Is that one out now?
Yes, it's the big thing.
I don't know.
Grossing like $2 billion worldwide.
Is it really?
B-illion.
It's bigger than Star Wars?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, it had a bigger opening weekend. Lucas Okay, we're getting wildly off track here. But yes, yeah, it's probably going to be the biggest movie ever.
Really?
Ever.
When's it going to be on Netflix?
3 months?
Okay. I'll wait for that.
Yeah, wait for that, right?
Yeah. So you can turn it off halfway through.
Yeah, probably.
Anyhow, getting back to it.
Okay.
So they're having this fantastic Rock'em Sock'em Robots movie type fight. And I'm okay with it. Okay. And I'm going to ignore your complaint about draining the powers. Okay. And then Black Panther needs to pull off the win right at the end. Dramatic moment. And he locks in a triangle choke from the back.
From the back.
Yeah. And I'm like, oh, cool, triangle. And God damn it, that is such a shitty triangle choke. His opponent is not... everyone I know that went and saw that movie that does jiu-jitsu is like, fuck that fight scene. I was down with it while they were doing ninja moves and shit, but they screwed up the triangle choke, and that took it from being like a 10-point fight to like being 2.
Yeah.
Yeah, so the guy taps to the triangle choke and whatnot.
It's weird how they can't get those details, right? It's very strange.
Sometimes it's not so much can't. I don't think that's always the issue because frequently the actors don't know martial arts.
Well,
you
yeah,
know?
of course.
So that obviously is sort of an issue. It's very
everyone has YouTube. You just triangle choke. YouTube.
Right.
Oh, this is how it looks.
But I think the average actor that doesn't do martial arts probably doesn't want to be put in a real chokehold because because reasons.
Yeah.
But then you got a guy like like friggin' Keanu Reeves and John Wick, who actually trains,
right.
Friggin' gogoplata a guy while shoot him in the head with a gun, throwing guys all over the place, doing actual arm bars and chokes and stuff. So we got some room for variation.
Yeah.
But so I like it to be more realistic when I know what it's actually supposed to look like, and when I don't know what it's supposed to look like, I guess it can be high fantasy, and I'm okay with it. So I think like most people who have never done like fencing or kendo or anything like that probably just like, oh look, they're doing like sword fighting, and the swords are clashing back and forth and whatnot. And then everyone I know who's done actual work with swords and whatnot is like, ugh. Oh, it's so terrible. Same with martial arts stuff.
Yeah.
Same with driving. All my friends that are gun nuts, if somebody's holding a gun wrong, they friggin' wig out. They're like, that guy's supposed to be a trained expert and he doesn't have good trigger discipline. I'm like, I get it. It sticks out like a sore thumb to you. So
yeah. I guess there's
probably like that for everyone.
everything.
Yeah.
What do you do, Rudy? What's your hobbies besides jiu-jitsu?
I used to play a lot of sports, but now mainly watch the Cubs, football, Bears.
You're getting all those, huh?
Yeah.
You can't do it.
No, you can't do sports.
It's tough, especially like you watch baseball.
Yeah.
I can see watching a football game, but baseball, that's a rough one. That's a rough one to watch.
He clearly disagrees with you.
You know what I like too, and everybody laughs at this.
Is it the simplicity of it? Just
Damn.
Well, it's a simple game. It's not very complex.
It is a simple to understand game.
Very simple.
Yeah.
You throw the ball, you hit the ball, you catch the ball.
You know what? When I grew up, we
Did I not simplify it enough? Is that too simple? Well, I mean, you run a little bit, right?
Jiu-jitsu is simple.
Jiu-jitsu is definitely more complex.
just wrestling each other.
Yeah, you just wrestle each other in pajamas, and the guy who hurts the other guy more wins.
I'm sorry if I butthurt the baseball fans out there listening to your podcast.
People like unsubscribe. Fuck this.
No, growing up, we played baseball as a kid, and we'd watch the Cubs in summer vacation. They were always on during the day, so
it's a little nostalgia.
Yeah.
I mean, I get why they call it America's pastime, But
do you watch football or anything?
No,
nothing.
I just watch the UFC and jiu-jitsu. That's about it. Yep,
I'm kind of the same. Like I've gone to other sporting events. I'll go to hockey, basketball. I enjoy watching football. But yeah, like I don't even have enough time for the sports that really, really interest me, which is mostly combat sports. Like I love watching jiu-jitsu, wrestling, judo. I just can't make the time for any of them really. So yeah, I tend to avoid ball sports in general. I also like watching other stuff like gymnastics and things like that.
Really?
Yeah. But again, just can't make the time for it personally right now. Sucks.
One of my, what do you call it when you like something that's shameful?
A guilty pleasure?
Guilty pleasure. I was trying a blank there. Is watching Cops episodes. I don't know why. It just relaxes me. It relaxes me to watch these idiots doing it.
I'm going to be real honest.
Like,
I was not
this
expecting.
one 30 times. But I don't know. I just come home after working out or after training or long day at the office and just relaxes me. Just put it on and play video games while I watch.
It's amazing that they sign off on some of those episodes. Like
Yeah.
the criminals have to like sign that. Oh yeah, put me on.
Right.
Like what? Why would you do that?
Do they get money?
I don't think they get money, but they get
They get
their
street
name.
cred.
Yeah, I guess they get to be on television. 15 minutes of fame. I don't know.
Yeah, so that just relaxes. I'll throw on Paramount and the old Spike.
Yeah.
And they have the cop marathons and
Is it still on to this day, Cops?
Oh, yeah.
They're still filming, right?
Oh, I don't know.
Is it
No,
like
I don't know
30
about
seasons
that.
or something like that.
I don't know about that. I just
gotta be
watch
a
the
lot,
reruns.
though. Do you?
Yeah.
They do the one that's live now on A&E or something.
Oh, do they really?
Yeah, did you see that?
No.
Yeah, that's
Live?
But that one's sometimes boring. I don't. Yeah, it's supposed to be live. I think it's real. I don't know.
Well, yeah. Who knows with reality television what is
Right.
actually real and what not I guess.
Reality television.
But Cops was like the first reality
Right.
show,
Reality,
really.
right.
I mean,
Yeah.
Kinda.
Unscripted.
Well, yeah,
reality.
that's what I
'Cause some
mean.
reality shows
Yeah.
are called reality, but they're actually scripted. Yeah,
right.
and people get confused, and then they
Right.
get gray. They're like, "Wait, no, that's real," and then they're like, "No,
Yeah.
just Google it, and then you see that's all fake."
Yeah,
I want to write a reality show that is so obviously not real at all, but still like really try to convince people that
It's
it's a
real.
reality show. Yeah,
There's
like,
a bunch of
something,
those, though.
Something utter. No. I'm talking like utterly fucking
ridiculous.
like with clearly CGI'd characters and superpowers and something like that. You know,
People think they're real. Like, wait, these people exist. They're in Alaska. They have superpowers. Everyone knows about it.
Yeah. There's a whole show about it.
just discovered them.
Man, I feel so. I can't remember if it was Discovery or Animal Planet, but one of those educational program shows before they started going off the deep end,
Right.
did some fucking bizarre ass mermaids mockumentary.
Yes, they
Yeah,
did. I
yeah.
remember that.
And it's
There's a
actually
whole-
it's fairly entertaining, but the number of people are like, mermaids are real.
that was a thing.
No,
yeah,
the way they
you're right.
build it up, I'm thinking they're gonna expose something here. They're gonna
Right.
show us, and then it was all garbage.
Yeah, yeah,
I was
yeah.
like,
Yeah,
what
no.
are they showing us? I just wasted an hour or 2 hours or whatever, however long that
Like I
was.
said, I was genuinely, I was absolutely entertained by it. But at the end of the day, I felt like it was like, and these are my people, so when I say this, I speak from the heart. I felt it was like some nerd trying to explain how mermaids would work in real life if like D&D wasn't just a game. You know, like
You're talking about Dungeons and Dragons.
yeah, sorry, Dungeons and Dragons. On the next episode, we'll explore the real, true origin of fucking elves. You know, like, they've done what they've done like that for like dragons too. Like if dragons were real, here's how it would work. Yeah. So and that all spawned off of like them having like massive success doing like dinosaurs,
Yeah.
where we know dinosaurs are real. We don't know what they look like, but here's a CGI simulation of a T-Rex fighting a stegosaur. They're like, actually, the highest viewed segment was when the T-Rex beat up the other dinosaur. Let's just have an entire series based off total fantasy like that.
The same thing happened with Shark Week, though. Did you?
Yeah,
with the
Shark Week.
Megalodon a couple
did
years
it
ago.
really? I didn't
Shark
know.
Week has
Shark
jumped the
Week
shark.
was fairly respected. They would report on sharks and their behavior and all this stuff about them. And then all of a sudden, this one year, they just went crazy and they had this BS show. They were even saying in it how some of this isn't true. They made up this whole story. And I'm watching, I'm Googling it. I'm like, I never heard about this shark that almost ate a whole boat. I mean, I don't. It wasn't a yacht. It was a
So I
Big
can't
bowl.
remember which one of those came first either, but I think the mermaids one came afterwards. Yeah, I'd have to look back on Wikipedia or something like that. But yeah. So like, and then the movie, like somebody in Hollywood was like, actually, this is a good idea for a movie. Let's make the Meg. But
Oh, that's right. They did made a movie. Is that what it's based off of?
well, I don't know if it's been.
No,
they
no.
probably stole the idea from
That's
Shark
so
Week, but
ridiculous. I didn't see that movie.
like the whole thing was like. Somewhere out there in the deep and unexplored oceans, in theory, maybe a megalodon could still exist. And if so, this is how big it is. And they presented it as if like a shark had bit a boat in half.
Yeah. So they at the beginning of the show, right? They're setting it up, and they're showing this footage that it makes it look like it's real. Like someone's like right now we're shooting this, and all of a sudden a shark comes, whatever. But they're in the boat, and the shark hits the boat, flips it over, eats all these 20 people that are on this. So they're making it look like it's real. So like I said, off the coast of Africa somewhere. So I'm Googling it. I'm like, why can't I come up with anything like this coming up? And so then later, like I tried it again, like next day, because I was just like, so why wasn't nothing coming up? I was like so impressed with this, or it was just in my mind. And then I finally started reading articles. Well, that's made up. They made it up for Shark Week, but I was like, what?
Like you can't trust the truth of Discovery Channel anymore. I feel betrayed.
So sad.
Yeah.
I watch a lot of Discovery. I watch a lot of Science Channel. I watch a lot of History Channel.
Yeah, those are all dead now. Dead to me.
But I love I love anything about Egypt. I had pyramids. Oh, man. But you know what show gets me? It's a guilty pleasure for me. Is that Ancient Aliens?
Oh God!
Oh my
really?
God! Dude,
with that one guy with the hair?
Yeah.
Everyone knows that one guy.
Yeah, George, whatever, Greek last name. Yeah, that's my guilt. Once I start watching it, I just can't.
I'm not saying it's aliens.
I'm not saying it's aliens, but yeah, that show just is like, I'm like, it could be. I don't know. Maybe they did build those things. It's possible.
That dude got one of my buddies to think that I was that dude's arguments and me like trying to explain the argument to a friend and I'm like, I don't believe this, but this is what the guy's saying, and I don't know personally the science necessary to refute it.
Yeah.
You know, so I'm like explaining this guy's point of view, and one of my buddies walks in on the conversation without having heard that preface, and he's like, "Are you seriously telling me that you believe aliens built the pyramids?" I'm like, no. He's like, I just fucking heard you explain how they built the pyramids. Like, yeah. So he thought I was like a conspiracy nut.
Oh man, I tell you, some of those things though, I don't know, they got like 12 seasons of that. I'm like, that's incredible. That's like
because 90% of America is like, listen, man, it's a guilty pleasure of mine, but
it's so good. I just can't stop watching it. Like, oh man, I don't know why I don't know. I know a lot of it's been debunked, and a lot of their facts, I'll put that in air quotes, aren't necessarily facts in air quotes, but man, it's fantastic to watch. It just makes you think, you know. And plus, they show actual like ruins, and it's kind of cool to see that.
It's one of those weird things where like clearly this is interesting and educational, even though there's a lot of BS going on here.
Exactly. Yeah.
No, I get pulled into shit like that every once in a while. Incidentally, like this actually started like. It's kind of fascinating. We started off with you talking about your favorite TV show, which of course is Cobra Kai, not actually on TV, and how unrealistic it is, and how you hate the fact that it's unrealistic. But now we've transitioned over to Ancient Aliens, talking about whether aliens built pyramids, and you're like, it's unrealistic, but it's cool.
That's great.
We talked about mermaids and
this has been a while. This has been a while. Right? Let's get back to talking about jiu-jitsu, which is what people are actually theoretically tuned in for.
Maybe.
So let me ask you a question. I saw this on Facebook. You're going to be running some kind of competition training?
So it's a competition class that we do at UFC Gym. We do just different types of camps there for our students. And they're actually open up for anybody, so anybody could come out. So this one's going to be geared towards competition, and it's going to be 4 days a week for 5 weeks. And typically we end the camps with a competition. So I think the one that comes there is, I forgot which one it is.
It's ending in May.
There's so many coming up.
Or is it ending in June?
It's ending in June. So I think it's, I want to say there's 2 on the 22nd, 2 competitions.
Man, there's so many coming up.
Jiu-Jitsu.
Oh, is it World League?
World League. They're coming.
Yeah.
I heard some really good things about them. So that's going to be one to
we
check
need
out.
to investigate that a little bit
Jiu-Jitsu
more.
World League?
Yeah, because you know they went and they filmed at Mineko's and some of the other local gyms, and
they're I think they're only out coast, and now they're trying to
move on in.
Isn't 5
West
grappling
Coast.
coming back too?
5
5 is coming. I think they changed the date a couple times. Unfortunately, I think the first day they had was the IBJJF or something.
Okay,
and then there was something else, and then so now I think they're back to August or something like that, if I remember correctly.
Right.
So so the camp is just geared towards helping students get ready for competition.
But when you say get ready for, are you teaching them like points? Are you teaching them about the competition? You teach because there's different rule sets.
Exactly.
So how are you training them?
That's why we try to end it with that tournament. So
With what that rule set would be, I see.
And obviously we make sure that they understand that one of the things I always get across, learn the rules, know the rules, because you don't want to get in there and get heel hooked and think this guy's DQ'd, and all of a sudden you lost or broke your leg or whatever because you didn't tap. So make sure you always know the rules for each tournament. You got to know them, and so we do go over them for that specific tournament. Go over different, how long each match is. Obviously, that's important. So yeah, we go over all those factors, but then in general, just some strategy, techniques. You'd be surprised, especially with white. And this actually happened to me. First time I competed as a white belt, I came out. Funny story. We never practiced takedowns. Right.
This has been many people's experience.
Yeah.
And
So
sometimes it really shows.
This is 1998, and all I'm working is ground, happy going. So they did back then. There was only one tournament locally, and that was like all the way in Peoria, East Peoria. So we went to East Peoria, and so it never dawned on me. So the minute we were out there, and I'm changing to my suit, and they're calling our it was a huge bracket for us. It was probably like. Well, for big guys, we usually get small brackets. So huge. There's probably like 16 of us.
That is
white belts.
Yeah. That is
and so we're there, and the first match is going, and so then all of a sudden Jeff Neal asked me, he's like, "So what are you going to do?
What's your strategy?
Yeah, to start. All right, what kind of takedown?" And all of a sudden it just dawned on me. Shit, we're standing up. What's going on? I knew nothing.
Right. Revert back to grabbing his hands and holding them there. That's all I know. I'm grabbing your hands and holding your. Just dance around this square.
But it turns out I ended up I did a cross grip very deep, and I was going up against a wrestler. Mm-hmm. So he shot in. It went into an automatic.
Yeah.
And I didn't even know what I was doing. I'm just, I
have a neck.
Yeah, I felt it. So I started arching, and I'm cranking. And all of a sudden, he went out.
Oh, geez.
And this was like 30 seconds into the match. So
slept
it. Put the guy to sleep in 30 seconds of my first match. I think I'm going to like this stuff.
Yeah. Hell yeah.
That's how you get hooked for life there, people.
I said, Jeff, I had it all in control the whole time.
I don't need to takedowns. Fortunately, my opponents know takedowns and not guillotine defense.
But yeah, you'd be surprised. Like when a student asked me to coach them or at a tournament. So what's the strategy? I don't know. What do you mean you don't know? Are you going to pull guard? Are you going to go for a takedown? And then what are you going to do from there? So these are some of the things I want to go over in the camp is have your strategy. It doesn't mean that everything's going to go to plan. Maybe before you pull guard, the guy takes you down. But what are you going to do from there? What escapes do you know? What sweeps do you know? So it's not just I'm going to pull guard and then that's it. What sweeps, what submissions? What are you going to do from there? Right. So that type of thinking is what we want to get them.
Man, this happens to me almost every competition. Somebody in one of the gyms I train at, and I know that is basically the entire Chicagoland area, but they'll come up to me looking for advice for the tournament, and I'll ask them, well, what's your strategy? How are you going to start off? And they'll give me a blank look. And sometimes we're talking about guys that have some color on their belt too here, and I'll be like, okay, what, if I don't already know their game, what are you good at? And they'll be like, oh, I've got a really good arm bar from guard or something like that. I'm like, so you're going to pull guard, question mark? Or are you going to fight for a takedown? And then they'll be like, I don't know any takedowns. Can you teach me a takedown? I'm like, okay, the tournament is Saturday and you're hitting me up Thursday. Okay, so no, I'm not going to try and teach you takedowns in like a day and a half. We have like 2 hours that you and I are going to work together. So no. And B, you just explained to me like your best move is like an armbar from guard.
Right.
How about, God, I'm so embarrassed that I have to do this, but do you know how to pull guard? Inevitably, the answer is no.
Oh, man.
So I cannot count the number of times where in like the final hour before a tournament, I, of all people, have to teach somebody how to pull guard so they can work their game.
Yeah, the best is right before they're going out there. I'm showing them, do this, grab their arm here, grab their arm. So yeah, that's always makes for interesting. So yeah, that's kind of what the camp's all about.
To avoid situations like that.
Exactly.
All right.
And now, what UFC gym are you at?
So I am teaching at the one in Oak Lawn. It's like on 101st and Harlem's, so it's a little bit out there.
All right.
It's about a 20-minute drive for me, so it's not too far for me. But I know for a lot of people live in the city,
A lot of UFC gyms popping up.
Yeah, they're really doing well. They got a good program. They charge a lot less. And then when you sign up there, you can do it all. So it's not like, some of these gyms where you're paying more for Muay Thai or you're paying more for jiu-jitsu or whatever it is. Here it's one price, and it's usually like $60 or something. Some of the higher end gym, now they even have a huge gym in Yorktown. That's where Danya and Alex are.
Yeah, one of my clients, Cilantro Taco Grill, they're in the food court there.
Yeah, that's huge. I haven't been there, but it just from looking at the pictures and from what I hear, it's just wow. Yeah. They have everything, cryotherapy. I mean, everything you could want in terms of health and fitness and martial arts and everything. So the one I'm at, it's we do the jiu-jitsu. There's some Muay Thai classes in that, but I'm teaching there 5 days a week. So Alex is the one. Alex and Danya got me in there. And initially I was only teaching one class. Now I'm teaching all 5 because they moved over to Yorktown.
Right.
So it works out pretty well. And then some of the students cross-train. They'll go there some days. They'll come with me some days. So they're getting good exposure. Kind of, I was thinking as you were talking about how you train at 10th Planet and then you also do the gi. I mean, I think that's awesome in certain ways. You're learning from different styles, different instructors. And so in this sense for UFC to be able to train, or they can go to the other, I think it's Chicago Ridge it's called. It's Orland Park.
Okay.
Orland Park, there's another UFC gym. And you got Tom Higgins. I don't know if you've ever heard Tom.
Yeah.
Really good as well. Just a beast. So some of them go to all 3 gyms.
Right.
And obviously there's even more popping up. So it's a really good.
Ricardo Lamas runs one.
Yeah.
That's got to be just the best, to go to a UFC gym and be like, that guy on the wall is my coach, and he's standing there in the octagon. I've seen him on TV.
That's gotta be cool. Where's Ricardo's? Where's he at?
That's the Naperville location.
Okay, good.
Yeah, I was pretty confident of that, but not 100% actually.
Yeah. There's Downers Grove. There's quite I think there's one in Aurora, but they're popping up. From what I hear, and then there's some in the city, like over in Lincoln Park. I think there's a couple like in the Loop area.
It's fantastic because there's a lot of people out there who are into fitness who train and don't have any place to go train. Now you've got UFC hiring people to do that. It's great.
Yeah,
right? It's fantastic.
Yeah,
it's a good brand to work for.
Oh, definitely. Yeah. They're good people. Good people. I met a lot of great people there. Again, Danya and Alex, great. That gym is run by a guy by the name of Mark. He's real cool, down to earth. Any idea I give him, he supports me.
So when they come to your classes, is it strictly no gi, or they have to buy a gi? How's that work?
We're doing like I said, I teach 5 classes at my location, the long location. 2 is no gi, 2 days, and then 3 classes are gi. But no, right at our location, you can wear whatever gi. It doesn't matter.
But they have to have a gi. But they don't sell gis on site.
They're looking into it.
Are they? Okay.
But up to now, no. People just get their. And then sometimes I help them, or I'll tell them where to look. Google, I mean, if you Google, you could get. Especially a lot of times, if you're just trying it out, I said, don't buy a $300 gi, no matter how cool it may look. Mm-hmm. You may, after 2 months, you may decide this isn't for me.
Right.
So I tell them, find a gi. If you need my help, I'll help you. But you can find a nice Fuji gi or different. And obviously, they're my sponsor, so throw them out there.
I love Fuji. I wear them for judo competition or training rather.
Speaking of gis, I was talking to Josh last night about Origin. You ever heard of Origin gi?
Origin makes a great gi,
and I know that Klingerman is sponsored by Origin, and I didn't realize that they put out a new one. It's very expensive. I was like, it's that much? It's like $300 something. That's pretty pricey for a gi.
Yeah.
But I guess it's like really suited to, like, they give you not just like A0, you give them like all of your measurements and they tailor it completely for you. Right. And I'm like, that might be nice. Might be nice.
It sounds exclusive. I need to have it.
I'll have to test drive that one.
I'm probably not a gi, but I'm probably going to get like an Origin rash guard or something. I'm really liking their product.
Are you going to that?
I don't know yet.
Origin camp
in Maine.
In Maine,
yeah. No, I want to. Because great guys.
Who's going to be there?
Jocko from the Jocko podcast, Jocko Willink.
Yeah?
Dean Lister was at the last one. I don't know if he's going to be at this one. Speaking of Dean Lister,
He was just here, wasn't he?
No, he's going to be in
he's
Chicago.
gonna
Pete the Greek is bringing him out, actually.
I think it's May 25th.
Yeah, I will unfortunately be in Wisconsin celebrating my son's birthday that weekend. But as part of our continuing efforts to get Rio back on its feet, after the tragic fire in their complex.
Yeah, so it's a Dean Lister seminar, $60. Is it 60?
I'm actually looking it up just to make sure that I got that date right. I'm 90% sure, but
yeah, to help Pete the Greek out and get his gym back.
Yeah, May 25th. And unfortunately, the thing I just clicked on didn't have the price. So look it up.
Well, regardless, it's Dean Lister. It's worth it.
Yeah. Interesting opportunity to train with one of the OGs.
Yeah. So I think Marcelo Garcia is going to be in Maine too.
Oh, really?
I thought that's what I heard as well. I could be talking out of my ass, so don't quote me on that.
Maybe.
Did
he just have surgery or something not too long ago? He had surgery for something.
I was talking to Greg, so maybe Greg was. I don't know, maybe
You're
Greg was
blaming
missing.
Greg.
I don't know. I thought that's what Greg said. Forgive me if I'm
No,
wrong.
you may be right.
I gotta look it up, but there's a bunch of fifth degree black belts on there as well.
Yeah, last year's camp, James Klingerman, who's been on the show, is a fantastic instructor. You had Dean Lister, you had Jocko. It was a really cool training camp that, like I said, I missed out on that one, and I'm not sure if I'm going to be able to make this one either. But one of these days, I definitely look forward to doing it. Origin, very, very proudly a made in the USA brand.
Yes.
And they produce some very nice quality stuff. Josh was wearing the Origin rash guard last night. I really liked that one. So yeah, I'm probably looking to get an Origin. But yeah, Fuji also excellent brand.
Yeah.
Really enjoy their judo gis.
Yeah.
They do tend to have a much more affordable starting gi than a lot of the other companies.
Right.
And
So-
it's still quality.
Yeah, they have a nice line where you can, if you want to spend that.
Hell yeah. You can get a nice-
200 to get the beautiful gi, you can do that. But if you want to get a more beginner, more just a basic, you can probably get it for $80.
Right. And, it always sounds like I'm talking shit, but it's so weird to me that jiu-jitsu gis are so expensive coming from my judo background because, it's literally not uncommon, especially when you're starting off, to buy, a $40-some gi. It lasts you forever still. It's still a quality product. And then you transition over to jiu-jitsu and people are like, hey, $125 for your starter gi. And you're like, wait, what? What's it made of? Is it bulletproof? And you're like, no.
Brazilian jiu-jitsu.
Yeah, it has
magic.
a different flag on it.
That my geese, that's from 90. That's from 1993, 94. That was my first gi.
Yeah.
Judo gi?
What is it, Javi?
Yeah,
because you looked at it before I put it in the case.
But
it's like a karate judo gi.
I think it's an actual judo gi, just like a single weave judo from back in the day.
That's my first.
My first gi was a judo.
Yeah,
because they didn't have real.
Almost everyone's first gi was a
Brazilian.
judo gi back then. I still remember, and people used to go fucking nuts for him. Like when the dude would show up in a crisp new Mizuno.
Yeah, I had one of those.
Yeah, there we go.
That was $250, and I thought I was spending a fortune. I was like, wow,
$250.
How can people afford this?
I had ordered it from New York, and this is back in the days before really internet was big.
Yeah,
so I'm calling this number that I found on I think Black Belt magazine or something.
He used an actual phone book. But yeah, Mizuno was the brand back in the day. I remember everyone was so crazy after that brand.
Atama
was another big one. Yeah, man, they had a crazy active Krugen. Yeah, Jesus, I'm having a massive flashback here. My mind is already going. I tease my coach all the time that you can tell how old his competition footage is because when he steps onto the mat, he looks like a goddamn NASCAR driver with all those patches.
But you know what was weird is you either had a guy that was patched from head to toe, or you
nothing.
had the white,
the
solid white. So it's funny now sometimes when I see someone like walk in for the first class or whatever with nothing. I'm like, you look like a 1998 in action. Just stepped out of that.
Gracie in action, right?
Gracie in action, right?
Oh man.
I mean, and some of the guys are still pretty traditional about that, where like maybe they put a patch on your back or your shoulder, and otherwise, it's like pristine white gi or whatnot. I can appreciate that aesthetic personally, but yeah, like I above and beyond the UFC, I didn't even really I didn't know jiu-jitsu competition was a thing until like late 90s, early 2000s. So when I started watching jiu-jitsu competition, like my first impression of it was like, oh, you have patches everywhere. Like blue gis were just like starting to become a thing at that time, if I remember. Yeah. So like that was, it was a very weird time.
Remember when black gis first came out? IBJJF wouldn't allow them at first?
Right, yeah.
It was just white or blue, blue.
Wow.
And then finally, like a couple of years later, they decided to allow.
Yeah, I always compete in black if I can, because you're not allowed. You're not allowed to wear a black gi in judo or sambo or anything like that.
I'm surprised that the IBJJF allowed blue before black gis.
Yeah. No. That's not surprising at all, because that's what was available.
Right.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So I see what you're saying.
Yeah.
So because there's so many now there's so many there's like navy blue, and then there's
neon orange.
There's like so many different variations of blue,
right.
And sometimes like Paul wears blue, and he's like, I don't know if I'll be able to get in with this blue because it's a little darker.
Yeah, it's got to be the lighter.
Yeah, it's always a risk. Like you gotta know your blue. So historically, judo switched over to blue and white for competition, which massively offended the Japanese at the time, mind you. Some of them are still very traditional about it and don't allow you to like wear a blue gi in their class.
Okay.
And I know some other people that cling to that tradition as well. But just like the tradition was, of course, always white. And it was like that for years and years and years and years. Eventually, they allowed white and blue in competition and realized, oh, this is way better because we can see what's going on when athletes are wearing different colors. Sambo kind of followed suit, because back in the day, Sambo, everyone wore a white jacket with a blue or a red belt to differentiate, and then blue or red shorts and whatnot.
Don't they wear red a lot? Red jackets?
Only in Sambo. And there's some very weird judo competitions that have like specific rules where you're allowed to wear like basically any legal gi, and people will go massively flamboyant with those. I think Jimmy Pedro has posted pictures before. He was obviously competing in the American team, but like I think he traded gis with like a German competitor, and like their gi was like the colors of the German flag. So it's like, it was really interesting color combinations and whatnot. But regardless, so judo is white and blue, sambo is red and blue, and jiu-jitsu for the longest time was white only. And then eventually they're like, oh, well, judo does this and it makes sense. Let's allow white and blue. But the difference is they don't require it. And that's why we have the little yellow and green belt, because when you both show up in a white gi or a blue gi and black, whatever, now we have to differentiate you some way.
I hate that belt.
I hate the extra belt so much.
I hate the extra. I think it's so ridiculous that we have to wear an extra belt for the IBJJF.
Oh, you mean the green belt? Yeah.
The green and yellow belt.
Green yellow belt.
Well, when I was first told, that's a different differentiator.
Right. And it made sense to me, but when I was first told about it, again, I didn't know very much. I'm like, somebody told me, like, I can't remember. He had like a goofy name for it, like the flag belt or something like that, because it's, the colors of the Brazilian flag, sort of. Regardless, he's like, if you show up in the same color gi, they make you put on the other belt. I'm like, oh, okay. So the first time it happened to me, I started taking off my belt.
Oh.
And they're like, what the hell are you doing? I'm like, I'm going to put on the other belt. And they're like, no, you put it on over. I'm like, wait, I have to wear two belts?
It's really not, I don't like that at all. I don't know why they can't just stick a sash behind your back and wrap it on like a red or green.
Right.
Like, it seems so ridiculous to wear that belt. I don't even get it.
The way we do it in sambo and judo competition to avoid those kind of issues now, and some of the traditional judo competitions actually where everyone wears white, there is an extra belt, so that's probably where the tradition comes from. But regardless, the way they do it is they just designate a competitor. You are going to be wearing red. You are going to be wearing blue.
Okay.
You are going to be wearing white. You are going to be, it's just set up. You bring 2 fucking uniforms. Like, it completely avoids the situation.
I mean, I would rather have them tell me
that you're
wear black or I'll rather change than wear that belt.
Yeah.
I hated wearing that belt. It's just because I didn't know how to tie it. It's not a normal belt. It's
No,
just
no.
like a weird thing.
Mine is always giant.
You're giant. And you're just
For me, it's small, right?
Right, exactly.
Because it's the same damn belt.
It's the same belt for everybody. So you're kind of just looping it around a few times and you're tying it into a knot, I guess.
Yeah, I guess this
bow
shows.
tie. I don't fucking know.
This shows my relative novice competitor status that I have not figured out the optimal way to tie the extra belt.
Exactly.
But somebody out there probably has a YouTube breakdown of it.
Hannah Gracie probably. Who will be on Shark Tank May 12th for his
Selling that damn hoodie.
I love that hoodie. That quick flip hoodie is fantastic. I wore it last night.
I mocked him relentlessly.
He did, yeah.
How much did that cost?
I don't even know. I was like, I don't know.
Money doesn't matter, Casito.
I don't remember. It was.
I'm just trying to figure out, is it worth it?
Oh yeah, 100%.
No, it's not.
100% worth it.
It turns into a backpack or what?
I'm going to go on Shark Tank to counter this. Yeah.
It turns into a backpack, and it's fucking great. I love it. I wear it all the time. It's got a hoodie. I can use it as a backpack. Last night, I got a gi. So I had. Someone had it in their car and they brought it to me and I'm like, fuck, what am I gonna do with this gi? Oh, I forgot I could throw it in my backpack. And it fit in my quick flick backpack.
And then you're still ready to fight if you have to.
Still ready to
Right,
fight.
he was ready to pull out that gi anytime.
That's right.
It's like if they call my
No,
name
isn't
right
that
now.
what he does? Henry does in the infomercial.
Oh, does he? I didn't see it.
Oh, the one. I think it's on YouTube or something.
Okay.
You never saw that?
No.
He's on the beach. I think Venice Beach or somewhere. And so he's like, yeah, if you got to get, he's like, you can put it on, and then if you have to fight, he's moving around. So it's
I didn't know that was considered a benefit of it. I'm sorry.
That's awesome.
It's even more ridiculous.
It's great. Quick flip.
To be fair, last night at Fight to Win, Zito found basically the only use case scenario possible for that damn hoodie backpack of his.
In case someone gives you a key.
In case somebody shows up at a tournament where it happens to be fair weather, you don't want to wear your hoodie, but you do need a backpack. that is the one true situation where I guess it's kind of useful, maybe.
Like, would you ever just use it as a backpack to begin with? Or
No, absolutely not. Absolutely not.
He's a ridiculous human being.
I would never just use it as a
Jack
backpack.
Kim is so sad that I'm going off on this tangent again because he likes it too.
Yeah, no, I would never just use it as a backpack because I don't normally use a backpack. I try to keep a limited amount of stuff, but I like it that sometimes I get cold and I don't like to carry a jacket with me, and I want to wear something around my waist,
Hannah Gracie has somehow convinced him that if he ties a hoodie around his waist, he's a douchebag, and therefore now he needs hoodies that he can wear as backpacks.
That's right.
Right, not to be used as backpacks generally, just worn in a manner.
You can convert to a sweatshirt.
Yeah. Convert to a sweatshirt, and it's very nice, very comfortable, very comfortable. Yes. Big fan. So I can't wait to see him on Shark Tank because that's going to be hilarious
or terrible. I might actually tune in for that episode. To be fair, but I'll be screaming at the screen the whole time.
Do you think I just wonder how he's going to present it.
It's going to be Hannah Gracie.
It's going to be great.
Yeah. He'll probably convince all of them to do jiu-jitsu.
He probably will.
I need you to come to my academy.
Right.
And I will show you the way of my people.
Yes.
My grandfather's art.
He'll throw in the Gracie diet. He'll throw in some acai something. Maybe bring him some acai bowls that he made. Another project on the side. Think he'll bring his wife with him? For sure.
I mean, I guess I don't actually watch Shark Tank enough. You're allowed to bring people to support staff.
Sure.
Oh, well, then yes, he'd be a fool not to.
Yes, he'd be a fool not to. You better bring that wife of yours. Yeah, crazy. But anyway, yeah, that's we're not sponsored by him at all yet. But
are you working in that angle?
I'm just kidding.
Man, that'd be so bad if we got that sponsorship, and then I'd have to be through gritted teeth,
you'd have to wear that same sweatpants.
It's a great backpack. And also keeps you warm in autumn.
And you don't have to tie it around your waist.
Yeah, well, that's
I want to like that thing so bad, I just can't see a point to it.
Yeah. California thing, man. You wouldn't
I
understand.
guess.
Understand.
Yeah.
Do you live in California?
Not at all.
No, he respects
I've been there, but
he respects their
I can
lifestyle.
appreciate it.
Apparently,
I can appreciate it. Oh man. So what else is going on, Rudy? Anything?
So that's it. Just
That's
keep
it?
busy. I teach at Sundays at Carlson Gracie headquarters. Also,
nice.
11 o'clock.
Do you know my cousin Tommy G?
Tommy G's your cousin?
Yeah.
Shut up.
Yeah.
Really?
man, everyone knows Tommy G.
Everybody knows
Good,
Tommy G.
good.
Yeah. He
Yeah.
lives not too far from me, so
Oh,
yeah,
nice,
yeah.
nice. How's he doing? Good.
I actually haven't seen it. Now he, like I said, I don't go to HQ as much as I want to
Yeah.
anymore.
I
Just
know
because I'm
he
teaching
goes
so
during
much.
the day.
Yeah, he goes during the day when I'm
weekend.
working.
Yeah.
But even at night, I haven't been going as much as I should. But so yeah, I haven't seen him for a while. But he's a good guy. When I did a camp in Brazil a couple years ago, and he stayed. We stayed in the same. We stayed in a hotel. I went with my wife, so I don't want to stay with. Almost all the other guys went
We're-
solo.
yeah.
So they
Single
stayed
and-
together.
Were you in the
and-
favelas? Were you in the favelas with him?
Yeah.
Yeah, she showed me
He
pictures
told
of
me
that. Yeah.
So but him and I, we had separate rooms, obviously, but we stayed in the same hotel, so we hung out a lot. He's cool. He's funny.
Yeah, he's a funny guy.
He's got some crazy stories.
Yeah, I'm trying to get him on the podcast, but he
Oh,
doesn't
you
understand
gotta
what a podcast is. So it's like,
Tell him we want to interview him for radio.
Crazy guy. Yeah.
I don't want him to say anything. I don't want to go. Never mind. He's 70 years old,
Yeah.
so who knows what's going to come out of his Chicago cop mouth.
Exactly.
It's not a live show.
I know.
We can protect him from him. Listen, sometimes
We're having breakfast because the hotel gave free breakfast. So we're
Yeah.
having breakfast. All of a sudden, he's like, there's nothing on his TV in English. And the one thing they had was 50 Shades of Grey, blah, blah. Bitching about 50 Shades of Grey. And my wife barely understands English, so she's like, and he talks all grumpy.
Yeah.
So she's like,
Got that cigarette
Did he
gas.
watch 50 Shades? He's talking about 50. Yeah, so it's cracking up.
Oh man, yeah. He's
But yeah,
funny.
Tommy's something else. Good guy.
Yeah. So Carlson's going good. So he's traveling a lot now, right?
Yeah, he's traveling right now as we speak. I believe he's in London,
Wow.
UK somewhere. So the team's grown a lot. He's doing really, really well. Doing really good, especially.
So does he like? So now you're at UFC Gym,
Yes,
but that's not a Carlson affiliate at all, right?
I have an affiliation with Carlson
You do?
myself.
Okay.
So I carry that, and so technically the students there, when they compete, like most of the time they'll register under UFC Gym. But if like one guy approached me and said, "Hey, I want to buy Carlson Gracie rash guards or gis or anything like that," we can do that. So
Okay.
So yeah, it's.
But the UFC Gym is not in a partnership with Carlson.
No, that's through me.
Through you.
Right.
Okay.
But the belt ranking is
Right, the
also
belt ranking,
through
exactly.
Carlson and everything,
Exactly.
right? You don't have a blue belt in UFC,
Right.
Right.
Although that is a fantastic joke waiting to be. Hey, yes, sir, I do train UFC.
That is funny. Oh man, that would be good. That's good. Yeah, wait. I'm trying to get Carlson on this podcast.
Oh, that'd be great.
So hard to get. Just when he's here, I don't want because he travels so much.
Yeah.
And it's like, okay, can you come over and spend a couple hours? It's like he wants to be with his family.
Exactly.
Right.
I
And his
understand.
black belts.
Well,
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
too, right? Of course, but it's just like, man, everyone. I mean, we've been on 100 and a lot of episodes, and it's like
100 and many.
100 and many, and it's just everyone's like, "How'd you have Carlson?" I'm like, dude, it's not that we don't want him on. It's just
Right,
a timing
right.
thing. It's just got to work out. He's just not that easily
Right,
accessible to get on the show. And I would have someone I'd go pick him up myself, or have
Right.
Tommy bring him or whomever.
Yeah.
It's just a matter of just not.
I'll
Because I see him
talk
at
to him. I'll see if
tournaments.
I can,
He says hi to me. He remembers who I am,
Yeah.
because Tommy introduced me to him, and he knows, it's just a matter of timing. But if you can help out with that, would be great. Also,
Yeah, I'll talk to him.
because man, I'd love to just to hear those stories.
Oh,
Oof.
he's got great.
It's got to be
stories.
like.
Yeah.
I heard he's a good storyteller.
And
too.
Oh
I
yeah.
mean,
Yeah.
He's a lot of fun.
and let's be honest, no disrespect to any of the other affiliations, many of which are quite large now, but like back in the day, this was Carlson's town.
Yeah.
Like everyone who did jiu-jitsu
For sure.
in the beginning basically came from Carlson.
And-
a couple of exceptions like Dino Castellas,
Right.
but like for the most part,
Right. Yeah. Most of the schools around now, at some point or another, they went through. The black belts
Yeah.
or the school owners or whatnot went through the Carlson team somewhere.
Right,
I just found out you kind of were
my kind of introduction. Yeah.
Yeah.
I gotta get Jeff on here one of these days.
Oh, Jeff would be good. Yeah. Jeff would be good to have on here. But yeah, it's Jay Valco, Maneko, Vivas, Sullins, all these different guys at some point or another were part of the. It's rare, like you said. I think Compredo and. But there's a few that are not. But
Caprito, right?
Uflacker, right? They were through. I think Uflacker was through Gracie Baja.
Right. I mean, there's plenty of guys since that have come in.
But originally, right? The original.
But yeah, like the early days of jiu-jitsu in Chicago are almost entirely about Carlson's team.
Right. Exactly. That's. Yeah,
and Junior.
Yeah, I remember back then that you would have people that would drive from Iowa, Wisconsin, because there was no schools, like as we talked about, and so they would come in at least on a weekend, drive in for a 3-hour class, 3 hours of training, and then drive back. Now you can get someone to drive 30 minutes.
Right.
Well,
right. Isn't that crazy?
Well,
times have changed.
Let's be honest. Classes were generally smaller back then, and only the lunatics were really showing up. You had to be pretty dedicated to it back then, whether it was a convenient drive or not.
Yeah.
It wasn't anywhere near as mainstream as it is now, and it's not really truly mainstream. But the difference between UFC being on television versus it being something where people legitimately thought guys were dying in modern day gladiator matches.
Bringing tigers out there and lions.
Whole lot has changed over the years.
Well, now too. I mean, with the amount of gyms people are bringing their kids to, starting them out younger, and that whole. Right. I mean, I think it's. I mean, a lot of gyms that we talk to, they have big, kids programs because that helps pay the bills.
And that's, if you look at it that way, from a business aspect, that's what should pay most of your bills.
Yeah. Right.
You need to, in order to survive, if you're going to do this full time, you have to have a good kids program. Yeah. That should be paying most, if not all, of the bills, and then the rest is,
right. Also, you can physically cram more kids into a smaller area, so of course you can have like a class full of 100 kids in a space that would only fit maybe 20 adults.
Exactly.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah. I mean, that's important.
It's just good logistics.
Yeah.
But damn it, I had a point on the tip of my tongue and I totally forgot it with that lame joke.
Don't beat yourself up. It wasn't that lame.
Oh, okay. Thank you. It makes me feel better.
Is there a kids program for UFC?
No, we don't currently have one. But I recently had a couple ask. So, and I just let them in. If there's a couple, usually, if I can get two, then they can work together.
That's the whole thing.
I just don't want to inconvenience, and I'll do it sometimes, but I don't want to inconvenience an adult that's trying to learn, that's paying and trying to learn. Because now they have to go light, or they have to, be careful, more careful, when we're working technique or whatnot. But yeah, if I can get two and sometimes we like I said, because if you sign up at UFC for anything, then you can do anything there.
Right.
So sometimes I do have a couple kids jump in, and then if I can pair them together, it works out great.
Right. Because I'm sure some fathers working out over there bringing kids to jiu-jitsu. That'd be nice too.
Better than daycare.
Better than daycare.
Yeah.
Learn a valuable life skill.
Right. Yeah. Fuck.
Somewhere out there's a kid in a daycare-esque program that could be the next Gordon Ryan, but we'll never know.
We'll never know.
Because his parents didn't enroll him in jiu-jitsu. Think about that.
Oh man, do you think I just heard that motorcycle go through? Do you think the weather's finally broken in Chicago? Are we done with that?
Oh no, for sure we're just being teased here.
Yeah, 70 degrees today. Oh.
Think about this. Like, let's set this up. Beautiful weather right now.
Yes.
Cinco de Mayo.
Cinco de Mayo. Yeah, you're right. It is Cinco de Mayo.
Cops got to be furious.
Yeah.
Days and days of people cooped up in the rain,
right.
building up all that anger and tension and whatnot. We have a fantastic excuse to go out and celebrate loudly and possibly with alcohol.
Right.
I'm so glad I'm not a peace officer today.
Yeah, you're right. Oh man.
Yeah, and then tomorrow, probably I should look at it and not just be talking out of my ass here. But tomorrow it'll probably be snowing. Yeah,
tomorrow's not a holiday though, right? Cinco de Mayo today. They don't take off for tomorrow though.
No.
Now, let's see here. Let's see. So it is. It is. If this is accurate, is currently feels like 75 degrees, and it definitely did feel like 75 degrees. Yeah. Monday, high of 60, low of 44, and raining.
There you go.
There you go.
Okay.
Yeah, I was
The only thing consistent about Chicago weather is
walking out today with
inconsistency.
a sweatshirt, and I went back in, put it in, and it wasn't a Henna Gracie sweatshirt.
It's not Henna.
No.
Because if
So
it
if
had,
not, I
you
would have been able to
just
put it in a
convert it into a
backpack.
backpack so you'd be ready to fight.
Yes. Be ready to go. You never know.
Shouldn't Heather be teaching you to fight in the hoodie so you can use your gi techniques,
I
sir?
know there's some gi techniques for the hoodie for sure.
Yeah.
You guys got to watch that.
The commercial that you're talking about?
Yeah.
I will actually watch that.
I think I saw it on Facebook. You know when you start watching videos on Facebook
And it tries to
and then
suggest another one or whatnot? Yeah.
I think that's what it was. I don't know if it's on YouTube, but
Facebook's all like, because you like jujitsu, here's a hoodie.
Oh man.
that turns into a backpack.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can't even. I barely go on Instagram anymore because I only follow like a few things, the UFC, Flow, and a couple other ones. But like all my suggestions are like when I go to like search, it's all like Brazilian girls, jiu-jitsu, and snowboarding. That's it. That's all that's in my suggestions. And I'm just like, why are these girls showing up? It's so awkward. They're just like. It's just, and I don't know what they're saying because it's all Portuguese. It's just so weird how they just like. Cause, okay, just show me jujitsu. That makes sense. But why you show me chicks? I don't get how they associate
Brazilian
So that's
jiu-jitsu.
it? That's
I
all
think
we
they
have is
take like
chicks and
keywords, don't
Brazilian.
they? Probably.
Okay, so hold on. I think we talked about this before, but to be fair, like I straight up follow a variety of Instagram models. So there's a reason a lot of girls show up in my feed.
Sure.
You're not following
No.
any Instagram models
I
and you're
follow
still getting mostly girls?
4 or 5, not mostly, but they show up.
Okay.
Like they're associated with the jiu-jitsu. That's what's odd to me.
Okay, but-
so Brazilian chicks in like bikinis and stuff, and then there's like jiu-jitsu, and then there's like
I'm pretty sure that's just Instagram's algorithm. It knows that 90% of all men that practice jiu-jitsu are following nothing but like
these
jiu-jitsu
Brazilian chicks.
and hot
I
girls.
see.
Not necessarily all Brazilians. So it's probably just predicting your habits.
I see.
Okay. But B, I bet you if the majority of them are actually Brazilian, it's just
Seems
you're
that way.
constantly searching for Brazilian, and Brazilian girls is probably the number one searched Brazilian thing.
No, I'm not.
And
I
Brazilian
don't
jiu-jitsu
type
is-
in search. I just click that little search icon, and then I can see like jiu-jitsu videos and snowboarding videos and whatever, whatever.
One of these days, I'm going to teach you how to actually use Instagram.
Yeah, I don't really want to learn. I don't need to take much time. That's why it's nice. It's nice following the few. I could just get like the UFC Flow. I get that right away, and I'm okay. Good. I'm put it away. And Facebook, I can't even go on that. I quit that.
You quit it? You're not on there now?
I have to be because I think I'm going to pass the torch off to Javi.
No, you are not. We'll
But I
talk.
have to do the. You have to have a Facebook page that manage a business page, and Grappler Union is the business page. So I got to have a personal account, but I don't want it anymore.
You're not on there at all?
I'm never. People friend request me.
Yeah, it's not that Zito doesn't like you; it's that he hates Facebook.
That's all.
Otherwise, he
silliness.
would take your friend request.
No, it's just it's just ridiculous now. But then you got to have Messenger. People Messenger we use for the podcast. Just coordinate times. So if I cancel Facebook, then I can't be on Messenger. Is that right?
Oh, yeah.
Correct.
No, I think you can have it.
Can you?
No, I think you need a Facebook account.
To have
I think you
Facebook
need to have an
Messenger.
active. You can set it up through your where you get text messages and whatnot, and they like crosstalk and whatnot. But I'm pretty sure you need a currently active Facebook to use Messenger. If again, perhaps our viewing audience is screaming at us, but
Maybe.
yeah,
I don't know. Well, whatever it is. I'm not on it.
you're so done with it.
I'm so right. Oh man.
He's the great Mendez brothers fiasco of 28.
No. They're not, I don't even know if they're on Facebook.
I was referring to your general
Instagram?
your general loss of interest in Instagram and Facebook.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Poor guys.
Poor guys. What?
I'm just saying. They lost me.
Oh, I don't think they feel the loss of your one like a month.
Probably not. Probably not feeling it yet. But maybe one day they will. They're like, man, she just put less of the kids up there.
Yeah, no.
Could add one more follower.
That post probably got more likes than
Probably.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. They're like, oh look, the Mendez brothers are human, and Zito's like, fuck those guys. I only want their jujitsu.
Are you a big fan of the Instagram and stuff like that?
I'm not on Instagram at all. Just on
okay, good.
Facebook.
Just Facebook.
Yeah, just Facebook. And even that, I only started like really for jiu-jitsu. Last couple of years, I've had some family things, personal things that I've put on. But for the most part, I try to stick to jiu-jitsu and, like these people that are going live 10 times a day and putting everything. I think that's...
I mean, to be fair, like...
I don't need to know that you're at McDonald's at 3 o'clock eating a Happy Meal.
Yeah, Javi, we don't need to know that, Javi. Stop.
I'm never at McDonald's. Except once a year for my
Cane's,
once a year for my Shamrock Shake.
Yeah, and they got to set a limit to how many times someone can go live. Some of these people are
it's
live
crazy,
all the time.
It's just like, jeez.
Yeah, I tune a lot of that stuff out. I mean,
I don't know. I just feel like I've never done it, but it just feels awkward to look like you're by yourself and you're just talking. I feel like I feel sad almost for them. I feel like embarrassed for them.
You never seen like Tom DeBlas go live and do like some of his motivational stuff and talk,
never.
Answer questions about jiu-jitsu or anything like? Oh, wow, okay. Because that would involve you using Facebook, and you don't do that.
Yeah, no, I don't know. But I did just like when I don't know.
I mean, there's times and places where I think it's
right. I mean, it's a platform that you can use in a variety of different ways, unless you're Zito, in which case you don't use it at all.
I see good and I see bad. I see it both ways because I come from a generation where there was no Facebook, there was none of that stuff, right?
Will you stop saying that as if everyone in this room is the same age?
Yes. But what I'm trying to get is it's like I know it's like to not have it, so I know that I don't need it. But I think the young generation thinks they need it, and that's what kind of
you
bugs
sound
me.
like my fucking grandmother.
Do I?
Yeah.
Jesus Christ. I don't know what I'm doing then.
Yeah, like, why do you need a color television?
I think it's a little different than that.
No, it's not.
It is. It's got to
No, you're like, listen, back in the day, we used to advertise jiu-jitsu through a phone book, and when you made it, you buy a billboard and commercial time. That's the way it should be. I'm like, hold on, wait a second. Stop.
That's all good. I'm talking about when they start doing all the personal stuff, when it gets political and you're arguing about politics and back and forth.
That shit out.
I agree,
right.
But some people can't, and they seem to waste their time, and their time could be probably best spent elsewhere.
Yeah,
sure, sure. Oh yeah.
No, that's the point I'm getting at. It's like I see people wasting their life and plugged into this like machine when they're like, let's just stop doing that because it's crazy. It's craziness. And I'm just talking about like my nephews and nieces. I'm seeing them now get into it, and they don't know what it's like to not have it, and they think they need it. And
they also
think
don't got a life.
They don't have it. And they're not gonna if they keep doing that.
Oh, yeah, sure. But I mean, like, here's the thing. Okay, maybe I shouldn't say this. Like, when you're on the jiu-jitsu mats, you shouldn't be checking into Facebook constantly and checking your Instagram and whatnot. Maybe after class, before class is okay. Yeah. But, so there's a couple of hours where you're not doing it. While you're sleeping, you're not doing it, I hope. While you're working, you sure as hell shouldn't be doing it, though I definitely know some young people that do.
Mm-hmm. The biggest request from my clients is to block Facebook.
Instagram, yeah.
That's like YouTube. It's not even like before it was like block all the porn sites.
Porn sites.
Everyone's so concerned. Let's block all. So we do that for our clients,
like almost automatically, right?
Yeah. Right? But now it's like, dude, can you just stop people from going on Facebook?
They don't even care if they go on porn now. They just don't want to.
They don't even care about the porn. Most requests is get them off Amazon, get them off because there's people are shopping on Amazon.
Oh yeah, eBay.
And I get it. Facebook and Instagram. And I'm like, fuck. All right, man. I guess gotta block a lot of shit. It's like nonstop.
Well, I did work for a company where they wanted like all the things blocked except like baseball sites because the VIPs were all
on the baseball.
Yeah, they were all fans, and like when the season was up, they wanted to be able to get their updates live at their desk. So like we can't block that shit when it's convenient for me because I'm the CEO and this is my hobby.
Exactly.
But your hobby, fuck your hobby. You work for me.
Exactly. What's funny with that though is I was working for a company in the early 2000s, and we busted this guy it was a manufacturing plant. And we busted this guy. We caught him. He was looking at porn. Someone saw him, I should say, and reported him. And he was sitting on the middle of the floor, just
oh wow, bold,
big pictures, just big screen pictures of women naked and all kinds of stuff. I don't think it was like porn sexual. It was more like naked women he was looking at. And so we did all these printout. I mean, we had you have to do your due diligence. So we investigated, had all the proof, fired this guy. And so then shortly after that, we didn't have any blocks at the time on our internet. And so we're gonna make the decision. But then some people are like, no, do you really think? I mean, this
guy was the exception, right?
Yeah. And so then, in order to determine if we wanted to shut that off or not, they had IT see how many people have been on it.
Sure.
Oh God.
Like, and again, it's manufacturing. So we had like 750 employees. A lot of them didn't have access to computers because they're factory employees. Right. But out of like the 350 that did, like 90% of them, we found had been on porn during work. Some sort of
right. And then suddenly you're like, okay, we have to do this.
We have a problem.
Yeah,
Houston, we have a problem.
So here's the things, because I started working in an office in fairly early 2000s. When I started working in an office, I was an exception because I already had the internet at home, and a lot of these guys that I was working with, this was the only internet access they had in their life. Nobody had a cell phone with internet back then. That wasn't a thing yet. No. I mean, it was a thing, but it was so expensive and so limited that no one did it.
You're lucky if you had pictures on your...
Yeah, exactly. Like getting a picture from your phone, like it would take 4 minutes, line by line. It's like then you couldn't tell what it was because it's shot on a fucking potato. but yeah. So dissimilar story. Probably shouldn't even go into this. I'm not sure if a statute of limitations has even run out yet. But yeah, like I remember back in the day when I first started in my office, guys would pass around emails of the most wildly inappropriate shit. Yes. Yeah. And people, I don't want to say they don't, because somebody's going to for sure be like, no, actually at my office this still happens. But I think people don't really do that kind of stuff anymore because you don't need to look up porn on the company internet when you have an iPhone in your pocket.
Right.
Like, that probably is a much smaller concern blocking that kind of stuff these days.
Well, I have to, part of my, it's so ridiculous. So part of my thing when I go into some of these, my larger clients is that I have to explain to the staff that it's safer. We'd rather have you look up porn on your iPad or iPhone because less likely to get malware and viruses.
No damage to the company infrastructure.
So if you have to do that, do it there. I don't give a shit because I'm just IT. I just don't want you to break my shit. I don't want to, build a company. I mean, I know this is my job, but don't make me come over here and fix shit because you're an idiot.
Because you went to look at porn.
Right, during work hours. It's bizarre conversation I had with adults. Man. It's really, really weird. But
hey, I've been on the receiving end of that speech, not because I was doing it, but because somebody in the office was doing it. Right. And it's like, okay, we have to have the talk.
Right. It's so fucking awkward.
Man,
awkward.
I have not had that talk. Like we have a general internet policy in my office, which includes that kind of stuff, and you sign off on it and whatnot. But you guys have just both reminded me. I'm like, damn, I remember having that talk in the early 2000s. Like, guys, you can't do this. Like, I thought this was common sense, but nobody seems to know that.
No, I remember when I used to work at a manufacturer before I was in the computers. I was a machinist, and we had this guy who was Portuguese, and he was a fucking phenomenal machinist. But he'd have naked pictures of calendars,
pinup type
pinups. Yeah, and that was okay. It was just if you went into the maintenance, you're gonna see naked chicks in the calendar. That was a thing back then. Right. And now when I see, if I go into a client and I go into the mechanics area, I'm offended. I'm like, what the fuck is naked?
What are you doing?
It's 2019. What are you guys doing? This can't be appropriate because there's women in the office, and what the fuck are you guys doing? Back in the early 90s or mid 90s rather, it was it seemed okay, but now I feel that's probably not a good thing.
Hey, so long as the girls are allowed to have naked guys up in their cube, I think it's okay.
I don't know, but I didn't realize that would still be a thing. 20-something years later.
I'm an equal opportunity objectifier. So long as everyone can do it, it makes it okay.
Right.
I'm probably losing some subscribers right there, too.
Yeah,
it's definitely... Culture has definitely shifted.
Yes, it has. I just think the access of how easily accessible porn is, it's become people are getting more numb to the idea of it all. It's not so much a shocker. Oh my God, you're watching porn. People are like, it's fucking tits and ass or whatever.
Yeah, 20-something-year-olds I've been watching that stuff since I was 9.
Yeah, exactly. Pretty much, right? I mean, we would have magazines and be like, holy shit, there's a magazine.
And watch the squiggly lines.
Right.
Oh, God.
Yeah. Yeah.
That doesn't exist anymore, right?
No.
I don't watch normal television, but like, there's no channel that you could turn on where there's
an accidental channel that you're going to get.
No,
like,
not
like
accidental.
scrolling. Like they're going to say, "Oh my God, what is this that we're watching?" That used to happen all the time.
You just have the I guess the pay-per-view ones.
Right. That like the only way you're getting something like that
Cinemax.
is right. Okay, yeah. I guess if your family has the right subscription, right? I guess maybe
Skinemax.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah, I'm deeply out of it on what normal TV programming is these days, I suppose.
Yeah,
But
it's crazy. I mean, I think there's some even like Comedy Central. They'll show tits.
Risque stuff?
Yeah, they'll show. Yeah.
I say, note yourself. Watch Comedy Central tonight.
But yeah, times definitely have changed, old man. All right, get off this subject. All right, let's wrap this up. Are we doing any technique today? Did you bring anything?
I did.
Oh,
I did.
sweat. All right,
Brought a
awesome.
key.
Okay, good.
Look at him stare at me. And
Yeah,
he's
he's
like,
like, yeah, Javi, get ready to get smashed.
yeah. Thanks.
All right, Rudy, where can people find you?
So at UFC Gym during the week, 101st in Harlem.
Yeah.
Pretty much Tuesday through Saturday, and then Sundays at HQ.
Awesome, man.
Carlson Gracie HQ.
Awesome. Well, I'm glad you were able to come in and do this, man. It's
Thank
been fun.
you. I appreciate it. I had a lot of fun.
Yeah.
That's
All right,
great.
let's go do some technique.
All right.
Sounds
All right,
good.
we'll see you guys.
Thank you.
Bye.
Hey, everybody. Thanks for tuning in. For more information about Grappler Union Podcast, you could visit us at our website at grapplerunion.com. You can follow us on Instagram at Grappler Union. Please like us on Facebook. Be sure to subscribe on iTunes. And all of our episodes are available on our YouTube channel. Say what?
Be sure to subscribe.
Yeah, subscribe to all that shit. You got to do another take, right?
Oh.